transfers, my list of transfers that happened this summer very quickly. I have Ishak Abdul Razak to Anderlecht. Ishak Abdul Razak, he's a young midfielder slash winger. He moved from IFK Nokoping in Norway, I believe, or is it Norway or Sweden? In Sweden, to Anderlecht in Belgium. Of course, Anderlecht is a big team in Belgium. So yes, that's one transfer. We have Taiwo Awoniyi to Nottingham Forest. Of course, a very talked about one when it happened. We'll discuss it as well today. Taiwo has already played a few games for Nottingham Forest. We've seen him, in Nottingham Forest. Let's see how that goes. Somebody said alphabetical order. I cannot start rearranging the list. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just going because I was writing the list according to when the transfers were happening. I wasn't sorting it alphabetically. But maybe next time. Okay, so I'll continue. We have Joe Arribo to Southampton, another transfer that was talked about, that people were excited about. We've seen him play a couple games for Southampton, so we'll discuss about how he has started and how life, is going for him so far. We also have Ibrahim Al-Hassan. Ibrahim Al-Hassan is a midfielder who, look at me, I just thank you very much for people that are joining from Facebook. I see I have some people on Facebook. I have people on YouTube as well. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. I appreciate your audience as well as those of you on Instagram. Okay, so let's continue with the list. Like I said, I'm going through my list of transfers that happened this summer. If there's anybody you want to talk about, write it down, note the player down, get your points down, so when I bring you on, we can go very quickly. Okay, Ibrahim Al-Hassan. He's a midfielder, 25 years old. He moved from Nacional in Portugal to KV Bescott or Beerschot, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, in Belgium. We have Calvin Bassey, who moved to Ajax. We have Ejuke, who moved to Hertha Berlin. We also have the women here. We have Onyechi Zog. She moved to Turbine Potsdam in Germany. We have Tyrone Ebuehi, who he moved to Empoli in Italy. We have Emeka Eze. He moved to Eyüpspor in Turkey. We also have Francis Eze, who moved to the same club, Eyüpspor in Turkey. We have Rosa Ario, Super Falcon striker, tall Super Falcon striker. She moved to Club Ila. That is the female team of Club Bruges. They are called Club Ila or Club Ila. I don't speak Dutch. But yes, in Belgium. We also have Suleiman Abdullahi, a striker who was playing or rather was not playing in Germany and just moved to IFK Gothenburg in Sweden. We have Super Eagles defender Valentin Ozonwafo, who moved to Sochaux in the French second division. We also have William Agada, a young striker who moved to Sporting KC in the USA MLS. He scored a couple goals since he joined. The interesting one, I'll talk about him in detail later. We also have Rashid Akombi, who moved to Sheriff Tiraspol in Moldova. Sheriff, of course, was a team that famously beat Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League a couple years ago. They didn't qualify for the Champions League, but they're playing in Europe this season. So Rashid Akombi moved there. We also have Iyaya Tienwe. He moved to the same club. I can see my Belgian friend is correcting my pronunciation. But yes, I tried. But yes, Iyaya Tienwe also moved to the same club in Moldova, FC Sheriff. We have John Ogu, Super Eagles midfielder, who moved to Maccabi Kabio in Israel. Ogu moved to Maccabi Kabio in Israel. Ogu is back in Israel, where he made his name, where he made his reputation, where he initially gained his entry into the Super Eagles squad, and he's back in Israel with Maccabi Kabio. We have Freddie Ladakh, who moved from Rotherham in England to Ipswich Town, remained in England but moved down a division. He helped Rotherham get promoted to the Championship, and then he moved back down to play in League One with Ipswich. But yeah, a good striker, I must say. We have Jamilu Collins, who moved from Germany with Paderborn to Cardiff City FC in England in the Championship. Very, very sad thing that he got injured. I watched Jamilu Collins' first 3 games of the season for Cardiff. He was so solid. He was so fantastic. Jamilu Collins looked better than I'd ever seen him look before. It seemed as if he was adapting to the Championship so well, and then he got injured and he's out for the entire season. Football can be a very cruel sport sometimes, but that's just it. He was having a fine start to his career in Cardiff, and he got injured and out for the season. Very, very sad. I wish him all the best. But yeah, Jamilu Collins to Cardiff is one of the transfers. this is a transfer that happened in January, but he just moved the Maduka Okoye to Watford. He's only played one game for Watford so far. We also have Okereke to Cremonese in Italy, or Cremonese. I'm not sure. I'm not Italian. Okereke has had a fast start to life in Italy. We'll talk about him. We have Cyril Dessers as well. Dessers, the Super Eagles striker, moved to Cremonese as well. Yet to score a goal, but um, he's been doing okay so far. I will say okay. We also have Junior Ajayi. Ajayi moved to Smoha. We have Chidozie Awaziem. Awaziem moved to Hajduk Split. We have Antoni Ujja, who recently scored his first goal for Braunschweig in Germany. Antoni Ujja, after not playing football for over a year because of a serious injury, he just secured a permanent transfer to Braunschweig in Germany in the second division of the Bundesliga, and he scored his first goal, I think, 2 weeks ago. Happy for him, his first goal in over a year and a half or thereabouts. After being out of the game for a very long time, it's not easy to come back. And as a striker, goals pay the bills for strikers. So I'm happy that he was able to get his first goal. Let's also talk about Victor Boniface. I see he's on the live. Thanks for joining. Victor Boniface moved to Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. Victor Boniface scored his first goal in his first start. I think he got an assist as well in his second game or in his third game. So good start for Boniface. We'll talk about him in detail a little bit later. We have somebody is telling me, okay, I shouldn't forget. Let me mention it since you're saying it now. Samuel Adigbe who moved from Nokoping to Beijing, Guan in China. If I'll talk about that one a little bit more. I wasn't happy with that move. Since you made me talk about it now, I wasn't happy with that move. Adigbe was killing it in Sweden, and I understand, he has bills to pay. He moved to China, but I felt like he was killing it in Sweden, and maybe he still had something to do in Europe. So I personally wasn't happy, but I'm not his agent. I have nothing to do with him. I've never spoken to him. But yeah, let's continue. We have Joy Bokiri, who moved to Saint Etienne. Joy Bokiri is a Super Falcons midfielder. She moved to Saint Etienne. We have Patricia George, who moved to Fenerbahce. Patricia George, Super Falcons defender slash midfielder slash forward, depending on where you want her to play. She moved to Fenerbahce in Turkey from Germany. We have Junior Lokosa. Junior Lokosa moved to Al Rayyan. Junior Lokosa moved to Al Rayyan. We also have Chinonso Ofo. Chinonso Ofo is my guy. I like him personally. He moved from Chicago Fire in the USA MLS to CF Montreal over here in Canada. So I'm happy about that. He's yet to make his debut, but exciting young striker. He didn't really get a chance in Chicago, and now he's making a move to the north. And I hope that he succeeds over here in Canada. Back to my list, we have Rita Chikwelu, Super Falcons midfielder. Rita Chikwelu moved to Levante La Plana from Madrid CFF in Spain, still remains in the first division in Spain. We have Ubong Ekpai. Ubong Ekpai moved to Mlada Boleslav. See how I'm learning these different languages with these pronunciations. But Ubong Ekpai moved to Mlada Boleslav in Czech Republic, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from Slavia Prague. He was on loan out of Slavia Prague last season, and now they moved him on loan again. Let's hope that he can kick on. Ekpai's transition, I will call it, has been very interesting for me, because Ubong Ekpai was balling for Slavia Prague. He was doing well for Slavia Prague, and then this young boy called Yiraso came onto the scene. And this young boy called Yiraso started scoring goals. And all of a sudden, there was no space for Ekpai anymore. And then they sent him out on loan, and he didn't score the same goals that he was scoring when he went out on loan. This season has come. They've sent him out on another loan. So it's a bit unfortunate, a Nigerian came and displaced him from the team, his fellow compatriots. But I'm wishing him all the best in Boleslav. Okay, next we have Ezekiel Henty, moved to Apollon Limassol. Apollon is in Greece or Cyprus, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody please check and correct me. But he already scored his first goal for the club. They are playing in the Conference League this season, so you're going to see Henty in the Conference League. He moved to Apollon Limassol. If I must say, Henty is another interesting player. Henty has talent, but he has been a traveler, with all due respect to him. He's probably going to play for another team next season, because that's kind of how his career has been going. He plays for one team this year, he plays for another team the next year, plays for another team the next year. I wish he could actually settle somewhere and make a name for himself and make a career out of it. Because moving from one club to the other, to the other, to the other, and not really excelling in any of those clubs doesn't do good for you. But hey, if he's making his money, I mean, who can complain? The next one I have is Antoni Umaki to Al Fayha in Saudi. Antoni Umaki, I like that guy, man. I like that guy. I mean, but at the same time, he had to make the move. He's been trying in Europe for a very, very long time. I mean, it's clear that Super Eagles, they're not really looking in his direction. He doesn't have anything else to prove to anybody. He doesn't have anything to prove to us. Trabzonspor were not willing to give him what he's worth, even though he just led them to their title. They were very disrespectful. They didn't want to pay him any good money. Umaki may move to Al Fayha, and I respect it. He's going to make good money in Saudi, 2-year contract. He's probably going to be competing with Odion Igalo for the highest goal scorer, and hopefully he can help his team do something, maybe win a trophy along the way. But yeah, Umaki, he's 33 years old, man. Yeah, it's time to make that money because when he's 33 years old. So shout out to Tony Wakeme moving to Al Fayha. We have Chinonyere McLean's to Lokomotiv Moscow. Chinonyere McLean's, she just represented the Super Falcons at the WAFCON, a new player for Nigeria. She moved to Moscow in Russia from Poland. Russia, they get us a bisha, but if they're offering you job, you can take it. But yeah, she just moved to Lokomotiv in Russia. We also have fellow Super Falcons player, midfielder Halimatu Ainde. She moved to FC Rosengard in Sweden from Eskilstuna. And I'm happy. That's a fantastic move. If you know women's football, you know that Rosengard is the best team in that country. They win the league more often than not. They are so strong. And Halimatu Ainde is a quality midfielder. She's about 27 or 28 right now, if I'm not mistaken. And for her to be playing for the best team in the league, for the team that's likely going to win the league, likely going to qualify and play in Europe. If they are not, I have to check whether or not they are still in the UEFA Women's Champions League. But Rosengard is a strong team in their league, and I'm happy that she's joining them, and hopefully she can win some titles before anything else happens. We also have Kelechi Umakali. Kelechi Umakali back in action for SD Ponferradina in the second division in Spain. Of course, a lot of you know this. If you don't know, Umakali had his contract terminated by Huesca last season. Very disrespectful termination, They kind of threw him under the bus, made it seem as if it was disrespectful. After he came to represent Nigeria at the AFCON, the whole thing just went upside down. He released a statement after the thing happened. I know that the Spanish Players Union were helping him pursue action against Huesca. And now he's back playing for Ponferradina. He's played about 5 games so far this season. He's been good so far. He's been controlling the midfield. Interesting is that Kelechi is playing as a deep line playmaker. He's not playing close to the box like, maybe people like to see him. So he's not necessarily getting goals or getting shots like maybe people would like. But I think the belief from the coaches in Spain, and even when I watch the matches, the belief from the commentators in Spain, they think that Kelechi is this strong because they look at every black player as strong, to be fair. But they believe that Kelechi is this strong midfielder who has a very good range of passing and needs to be deep to connect with his teammates. So they kind of want him to be a DM. They want him to be a DM in Spain. That's kind of what the coaches and commentators and fans in Spain seem to want for Kelechi. I don't know if that's what Nigerian players want, but even if he can bring that range of passing to the Nigerian team, it can still be helpful. So far, so good for Kelechi. I think he has 1 assist. He's been very good in, I think, 70-80%, 4 or 5 out of the 6 matches that he's played. And, let's hope that he can be one of the best players in the second division this season. Even if his team is not, promoted, let's hope that he can stand out and make a mark and show that, hey, he's better than this second division. Okay, moving forward, we have Yewande Balogun to Saint-Etienne in France. Yewande Balogun is the Super Falcons goalkeeper. Excuse me. She just moved to France, Saint-Etienne. Wishing her the best. She was playing for Copenhagen United in the past and coaching as well. We have Blessing Eleki. Blessing Eleki is a striker. He moved to Kashima Antlers in Japan. I can't lie. I've never watched a Japanese league match from start to finish. I've watched maybe highlights. I've watched 5 minutes. I've never watched a Japanese league match 90 minutes. But I wish him all the best. Blessing Eleki is in Kashima Antlers in Japan. We have Ogenye Onazi. Ogenye Onazi moved to Casertana FC in Italian Serie D. This was a transfer that caused a lot of talk. A lot of people were congratulating him. His friends, his supporters, his family were congratulating him. But of course, fans are ruthless people. You guys are harsh, and a lot of fans criticized him for moving to the Serie D. I think all in all, I don't want to talk too much now. We'll get into it when I bring people on to talk about it. It was an unexpected transfer, I will say that. But let's see how it turns out. Let's see how things pan out. I will not be watching the Serie D. I'm sorry. I like Onazi, but there's no Nigerian player that can make me watch Italian Serie D. But I will still be keeping track and hoping that he can succeed and can advance as he continues in his club. Okay. We also have Raphael Onyedika to Club Brugge. Fantastic transfer, in my opinion. Raphael Onyedika, 21-year-old midfielder. He moved from FC Midtjylland in Denmark to Club Brugge in Belgium. They're also going to be playing in the Champions League. If you didn't see the post on our page, you can check it out. We made a post about the 7 Nigerian players in the Champions League this season. Onyedika is one of them. Onyedika is a player that gives you two things. In every match, Onyedika gives you two things. He gives you fantastic range of passing. Always go and check it. Onyedika's passing is maybe 85% on a bad day. Go and check his statistics. Fantastic range of passing from Raphael Onyedika. And then he gives you tireless effort in midfield. That box-to-box effort, if you want it, the tackling, the ball recovery, the interceptions. I'm a fan of Raphael, and I'm happy to see him advance in his career from Denmark to Belgium, from Belgium to maybe England, to maybe the Premier League. Who knows? Let's see how it goes for Raphael. Okay, let me quickly read some comments before I keep on talking. Somebody is saying 29 years old and in Division 4. Felix, and Felix is clapping Raphael's move. Best Niger players move this season from I am more talking about Raphael. Felix says I watched his debut against Cercle Brugge. I need to learn my Dutch. Very impressive. Already comparing Onyedika with Eric Ado in Belgium. Yes, another good comparison. Eric Ado, if you don't know, is a Ghanaian legend. Played for Club Brugge in the past, made his name in Belgium. And, for Onyedika to be compared to him is big praise for him in Belgium, at least, and hopefully he can continue. Boniface said Kadiri from Nobel to Real Madrid. Amen. Somebody is saying would have preferred Milan for Onyedika. Milan is obviously I just read YouTube comments. Yes. Somebody said he would have preferred Milan for Onyedika. I know that Milan made the offer for sure. I think the issue was that they couldn't agree with Midtjylland. Onyedika won the Best Young Player award in Denmark last season. And Midtjylland felt like if you are going to come and take the best young player in our league, you are going to have to pay some good money, which, let's be honest, is fair. It's a player's career, so I understand why people are not so happy about it. But I think AC Milan made a 4 million euro bid. And Midtjylland are like, hey, this guy is the best young player in our league. How can you bid 4 million for him? Add money to it. And AC Milan said no. And Club Brugge came and they broke their transfer record. In fact, they broke the Belgian transfer record to sign Onyedika. Club Brugge broke the Belgian transfer record to sign Onyedika. That is money that is befitting of the best young player in Denmark, and money that is befitting of the kind of value that he was bringing. He's 21 years old. So I understand that Milan would have been a big move and would have been excited about it. But from a business standpoint, there was simply no way that Midtjylland was going to take that small money. And at the same time, Club Brugge, I think, is a good step for him. Somebody is saying here that the pressure would have been a lot in Milan. he's a Nigerian. He can handle pressure, I'm sure. But at the same time, Club Brugge is a nice progression for him. Go to Belgium for a winning team. It's not like Club Brugge is a small team. He's coming from the champions of Denmark, going to Belgium for a team that I'm not sure the Club Brugge won. Yeah, they won the league last season. So the champions of Belgium. And, it's a winning team, a team that wins every season, plays in Europe. And, if he can continue in that same vein, there's no reason why he can't still make that move to Milan or even a better team than Milan in a year or two. So really, I think that whilst Milan would have been more exciting and a bigger name, Club Brugge was also a very good one for him. And they're in Champions League, man. We have to respect that. I'm happy to see him in the Champions League. Okay, let me go back to my list. Anobi says no need for him to sit on the bench at Milan. He should rather play constantly in Brugge. After a few years, Milan will have to compete with other grants for his signature. Exactly. AC Milan bought Asta for 14 million after 1 year. So if they really wanted him and believed, they would have increased the offer. Exactly. If AC Milan can pay 14 million for another player, then they can pay 12 million for our own Rafael Onyedika. Okay, moving on. We have Kingsley Ehizibue, who moved to Udinese in the Italian Serie A, teaming up with Isaac Success, who of course we know had an okay season last season, and is doing okay as well this season. He had a decent preseason, not been lighting it up since the league actually started. But Ehizibue, who was called up to the Super Eagles one time, and we've not seen him again, but I have to call him a Super Eagles player. He just moved from Cologne in Germany to Udinese in Italian Serie A. We also have Rilwan Hassan. Rilwan Hassan has moved to Hamkam. If you don't know Rilwan Hassan, he is, I'm trying to get his details so I don't say the wrong thing. He's a 31-year-old midfielder, experienced player, and he just moved to Hamkam. Hamkam is a team that plays in the Norwegian First Division. Happy for him. Let's see what he can do over there. Next on my list, we have Bamidele Yusuf to Estoril. Bamidele Yusuf to Estoril in Portugal. Bamidele Yusuf is a 21-year-old or 22, I'm not sure, striker. He was playing in Slovakia before for Spartak Trnava. He was doing quite well, scoring good goals, and now he's made a big move, I have to call it. If you move from Slovakia to Portugal, I mean, it's a big step up for any player, and I hope that he can really take this chance. And they're in the first division of Portugal. It's not the second division. They're in the first division of Portugal. So it's a big move for him. If he can score goals in Portugal, of course, it will bring some spotlight to him, and it will increase his reputation, it will increase his value, and who knows, in a few years he might be making another move. So shout out to, what's his name again? Shout out to Bamidele Yusuf. Yeah. Next player, we have Sadiq Umar, quota player, like a lot of people said, but he keeps on proving his haters. He keeps on proving people wrong. Sadiq Umar has made his move from UD Almeria in Spain to Real Sociedad in Spain still. He has scored 3 goals in 3 games. He came off the bench over the weekend to score the equalizer for Sociedad in their La Liga match against Atletico Madrid. I'm happy that he scored on his debut, first of all, and I'm happy that it was against Atletico Madrid. If it was Sociedad against Elche, some people will say, it's Elche, that's why. Or if it was against Cadiz, they'll say it's Cadiz. But it was against Atletico Madrid. It was against Jan Oblak. In fact, because of Sadiq, Oblak is injured right now. Because of Sadiq, Oblak is injured right now. You can check it. Fantastic goal that he scored. He had another goal that was disallowed. And I'm just so happy for Sadiq Umar. The sky is the limit for this guy. He keeps on being humble and just playing his football and proving people wrong, proving doubters wrong. And I hope that he continues in the same vein, scores about 15 to 20 goals in La Liga this season. And let's just see, man. Let's just see. I'll keep quiet for now. We have a transfer that happened, I think, yesterday or today. Joshua Akbuja has moved from FK Panevezis or FK Panevis. I don't know how to pronounce the club. But Akbuja, that's the important thing. He has moved from that club to Jablonek in Czech Republic, in the Czech First Division. Joshua Akbuja is a young defender, center-back, who has been doing pretty well in Latvia over the past few years. Then he moved to that club that I can't pronounce their name, Panevėžys, in what I can't remember what country they were in. But he moved to that club and now he's moved to Jablonek in Czech Republic. I'm happy now because I'll be able to watch his games more and I'll be able to see how he's performing even more and we can track him and update on him even more. But yes, we have a lot of players in the Czech first division right now, and Akuje is another young player that, I mean, of course, if you watched the Nigerian local leagues, then you know Akuje from when he burst into the scene in the MPFL. And I hope that this move can be the start of more good things to come for him. Okay, and that is the end of my 46 man and woman list of Nigerian transfers that happened this summer. If there's anyone that I forgot that I missed out, please remind me now so that we can add it to the list. I'll start to bring people on. I'll start to hear your thoughts. Let's get into a bit more detailed conversation about these transfers. Let's hear what you guys think. Let's hear your feelings, and let's just discuss for the next 1 hour thereabouts. Okay, let me see the request I have, and also what the comments are saying. Yes, MFMFC. Yes, that's where he burst onto the scene in Nigeria with MFM. Let me see. Yes, Onuachu did not move. That's a transfer that didn't happen. Onuachu did not move. I don't even know if I want to talk about it. I don't know the details of the situation enough to really give you guys any insight. But from a fan's point of view, from the outside looking in, I mean, it's a bit disappointing, I must say. Onuachu broke a record that was unbelievable. And everybody thought, now he's leaving this league, he's leaving Belgium, he's going to greater things. And then he stayed. And I was saying is that there's no way, like it's simply impossible. You did history one season, you cannot do history again the next season, and he was injured partly last season, and then this season is back and he's on the bench. He's on the bench this season. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what is going on. Coach Michael says he was offered to Club Brugge in Belgium. We're hearing that now that he was offered to Club Brugge, but it's very strange for me that Onuachu went from being a record breaker in Belgium to now sub-striker for Genk. It doesn't add up to me. It doesn't make sense. And I'm disappointed in his team and sad for him, honestly, because I thought that by now he'll be playing in a higher division, at a higher level at least. But yes, let's see what you guys have to say. Okay, let's talk about Ishak Abdul-Razak. Ishak Abdul-Razak. Like I mentioned earlier, he moved from Norrköping in Sweden to Anderlecht in Belgium. He's not really had it easy so far. Ishak moved with a lot of what's the word? He had a lot of expectation when he moved. And he didn't start too well. His second game, he got a red card for elbowing somebody. And since then, it just seemed as if they've not really trusted him again. He's been left out of the match day squad a couple times. The last game, they brought him into the match day squad last minute because a player got sick before, a few hours before the game. Things like that. For somebody that got into the team with a lot of hype and a lot of expectation, I really hope that when he gets his chance, when they do finally give him maybe 60 minutes to play, that he can show something, because I was happy when it happened. And the way it has started off is not the best. It's not the most exciting thing to watch so far. Ishak Abdul-Razak I'm talking about. And yes, somebody is saying Samatta set a bad precedent. People will be wary. Samatta just rejoined Genk. I mean, Samatta just came back to Genk. So I'm not sure what you mean by the bad precedent. If you mean about leaving and not performing, but Samatta just came back to Genk. So I really don't know why Onuachu is on the bench. I don't know if it's his injury issues or something, but he needs to score goals again, man, and he needs to leave. Honestly, somebody said if all a striker can add to his team is just scoring goals, then he's not good enough. What else does Ronaldo do? Please, people should stop it. What else does Ronaldo do? I beg. Let's move to Taiwo Awoni. Let's move to Taiwo Awoni. Um, Taiwo Awoni moved to Nottingham Forest from Union Berlin in Germany. So far, one goal for Taiwo, a couple defeats, one big defeat against Man City, and a couple appearances off the bench. That Nottingham Forest coach is annoying me. I can't even lie to you people. Nottingham Forest coach is annoying me. You signed Awoni, you signed Dennis, then you are playing Gibbs White and Lingard as your strikers or as your forwards. You are playing midfielders as your forwards when you have Awoni and Dennis on the bench. I'm so annoyed. I don't know what he's doing. In their last game, they were leading 2-0 against fellow promoted side, Bournemouth. They were leading 2-0 and they blew their lead and lost that game 3-2. I'm happy for Taiwo. I'm excited to see him in the Premier League. I hope that he can score more goals. But I need their coach to play this guy. I need their coach to play this guy. You have quality players on the bench. I don't know if they're not performing in training. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. But they need to fix up. They need to fix up. I don't want them to go down. They signed 22 players, for God's sake. In the beginning, when they were signing all these players, I said, this is a team with ambition. They have ambition. They want to stay up. They want to stay up. And I thought when they reached like 18, 19, I said, okay, now they're just signing everybody. Now they're playing manager mode. I said, now this team, they're not really sure what they want to do. It's like, if they just hear, oh, these guys are available, they will just sign. So it's very confusing right now. I really hope they signed some quality players though. They signed Awoni, they signed Dennis, they signed Renan Lodi. To be fair, Gibbs White is even a good coach, a good player rather. They signed Lingard. So I hope that Cooper can get it right and they can make it work so that they can stay up. But right now, Nottingham Forest is not looking too good. And I hope that it changes. Does anybody have anything to say about that Taiwo Awoni move? If you want to talk about Taiwo Awoni, come on now, send a request. Let me bring you on. If you want to talk about Taiwo Awoni and Dennis, come on now, let's talk about it before we move on. Then you bring the conversation back. If you want to talk about Taiwo and Dennis, send a request, come on now to discuss. Someone said he didn't sign defenders, talking about Cooper, the Forest coach. Coach Miguel says Taiwo didn't play well in one of his Belgian clubs. Things can change quickly. It's all about the coach believing in you and the way of playing. Give them time. Okay. Let me see what else. Someone is okay. I can say I have requests to talk about Taiwo, Titi Dele, and Adidotun. Let me bring you guys on. Felix, you can come on, no problem. Yes, hello. Thank you for joining us, Titi Dele and Adidotun.
I've seen people blaming Awoni for leaving Union Berlin. But what I'm going to tell you is this. I've been following this ball game for long, for almost 30 years now. I can tell you that sometimes if the club wants you to move, you must leave. I can tell you, when we sold Thiago Silva and Kaka, they were in Brazil national team. They didn't want to leave. So they said, we need money, you got to go. There was nothing Awoni you could have done if nobody had told him, hey, go. If nobody wanted to sell him by force, there was nothing you could have done. Because they think that needs money, they needed money. How much they buy him? How much they sell him? So much to stop playing players for leaving one club. You get to a stage in life where you say, okay, I don't want to leave. People like Ronaldo and Messi can say that. Not our players for now. Not our players for now. Let me corroborate that man, so permit to use this word, is the most stupid coach on earth, on planet Earth. You don't have defenders, you don't sign 22 players. You didn't sign defenders. Even Ekong would have been better for him. Wow, Ekong would have been better for him. I've watched all their matches. You know defensive error. Look at their last match. Look at the defender. He gave the pass up to an opponent. And is that on his head? Yeah. That guy should have bought good defenders. He didn't buy defenders. he bought only 20 players and he didn't buy players. If he had bought Ecom, I'm sure Ecom would have done better than all those defenders.
Okay.
Ecom would have better.
Let me
even our old ones, Balogun. Why did you go for someone like
Abdul? Calm down small. Let's calm down small. Yeah. Let me ask you today. So, other than insulting the coach, what do you think of the move? Like how do you think Awoni at least has done so far? Even Dennis, we've seen him I think twice. How do you think they've done?
Yeah. For me personally, Awoni going to Nottingham Forest was not expected, but at least it has happened. Benin is the second club. It was a must because I was privy to some informations then when it was flew to Greece to have a meeting with the owner of Nottingham Forest. Like, it's a must, you have to come to Nottingham. We need you, we need this. But Steve Cooper, the coach, does not really believe in our players. He's sentimental in his decision making. Number one, you have Awoni, you have Dennis, you have Fiula, the guy that came from Atalanta in Italy. You are still using championship standard player. Since Nyakete from Mainz got injured in that team in the match against, I think, West Ham. That was the end of that defense. Now, Mackenzie, Warriors, Steve Cook, they are all championship standard players. These guys are not Premier League players. Now, the sentiment of Steve Cooper in that team is this. You have an Awoni in the team. You have a Dennis in the team. Yes, you are not playing with the recognized striker in your team. You are using more of Morgan Gibbs-White, Lingard, and Bernard Johnson because he was one of the people that brought you from Championship. Yes, the guy that appeared quiet in the last match, that's the guy that was 22. He's a Championship player. Because I follow Nottingham Forest very well, like 2-3 years ago. He's a Championship player. I told people, this guy cannot play in the Premiership standard. But yeah, the coach is being sentimental about the English factor. Let me tell you one truth. Why he was keen on Morgan Gibbs-White was he worked with Morgan Gibbs-White during the under-17 time that England won. He was the coach of the under-17 of England when they won that World Championship. So he worked with all these players. So that was why he didn't really believe in all these our players. That is to say. I told some people yesterday, Dennis will soon talk. He will soon talk in that thing. Dennis will soon voice out. I'm very sure of that guy. But like only I just keep that. So I'm looking at if I only not able to do any magic between now and December, he should just leave. There are several clubs looking out to him now.
He should leave. He signed a 4-year or 5-year contract. How easy is it?
Clubs will come now. Dortmund was waiting for him. Before Dortmund went for Modeste from Cologne, Awoni was their top choice initially now. So if the guy because it's same thing happened to him in Gent. When he went to Gent in Belgium, after having a good season where exam was scored, he went to Gent. Gent was doing anyhow for 6 months. He went back to Moscow, scored 14 goals in just 6 months. In the second half of the season, he was scoring again in Belgium. I think if Steve Cooper does not have trust in our players, let them leave before this team. Because they are going back to where they came from, according to you. But Forest is Ibu. They are going back to the same Forest that they came from. They are not careful.
All right. Felix, welcome. What do you think?
Yeah. I would actually say I don't want to make a case for the coach, but if I want to start from this place, I would actually say we don't know what Awoni and Dennis are actually doing in the training. We don't know how well the training. We don't know how much they impact in training, and because I believe to make a match day squad, you have to be very effective in training. It's what the coach sees in you. Now, this is not me making a case for the coach, but what I'm actually seeing is, I think Steve Cooper, what's his name? Is it Steve Cooper? What's his name? He's very confused. He's very confused. I look at that saying, you have Renan Lodi, you have Chukwuyate, who is a very good defensive midfielder. What are you actually doing in training? Why can't you set up your team? He didn't just sign 22 players. He signed 22 quality players. These are players. He signed some players who are above average.
Yeah, Lodi is above Nottingham Forest level. If we're being honest,
Yeah, Lodi is good.
Yeah.
Look about that.
Why don't you play Gibbs White, Lingard behind Awuni? Why don't you flank Dennis and that other guy who plays at their wing? Leave him there. See, I look at that team. It is very easy to set up, but it seems that coach is confused.
Just trust this player for the next 3 games. Trust them.
It is very difficult to talk about. It is very difficult to talk about Awuni and Dennis case without actually mentioning the coach. That is just it, because the coach is actually confused, very confused. Because from the few matches I've watched, Nottingham Forest played, each time Dennis and Awoni comes in, you see that spark in attack. You see that change in attack. Then what is the problem? Why are you keeping these guys on the bench? You have a striker, you have a centre forward, not just a centre forward who can get.
20 goal striker and a 10 goal striker in Premiership.
Look here. That's why I was happy when they lost against Bournemouth. I'm sorry, Taiwo. Because when they were winning that game 2-0, I said, hey God, if they win this match, this coach will never play striker again. So when they lost, I was like, at least maybe he'll wake up and see that he needs to play these boys. But yeah, let's not hold function on Awoni and Dennis too much.
Because he looks scared. What is saying?
Division 1 coach.
Let me ask you guys about another Nigerian player in the Premier League, Arribo to Southampton. So far, how would you rate his performance and his contribution to the team?
It's been phenomenal. It's been fantastic. Because finally, I've been watching Premiership now. Before I've watched all 2 matches in the Premiership, but now because we have a lot of Nigerians there now, one Premiership. I think so far Arribo has been good. It's been phenomenal. Because even at their last match, I saw all his efforts. Arribo, pressing the play. I think it's been good. It's been good.
Since the level, how about you? What do you think?
For me, Joseph Arribo, he has been impressive so far, but I think another thing is the coach needs to trust him more. The coach needs to trust him more. They need to, because the truth is, Arribo cannot play as a lone striker. Arribo in the Rangers play behind strikers most times. So the coach needs to understand and play to the strength of Arribo and needs to trust him more, because you put him on the bench, you took 3 matches, another match you are starting him, another match you are making it, we know if the guy is confident. You need to trust him more, have confidence in him, and I can tell you Arribo will surely deliver. I believe in him.
Felix, what about you? What do you think about Arribo so far?
Yeah, Arribo has been great. He has been fantastic whenever he has the ball. But I made a complaint. Is that not 2 weeks ago that I'm not really satisfied with his work rate when it's off the ball. At times it look lost. It look lost that in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you don't even see him in the game. But when it's with the ball, he makes creative passes. You know that this guy is quality. But what I'm just trying to say is he should actually improve on his work rate when he's not with the ball. You can see why the coach is actually dropping him is because the coach wants more physicality. It's not as if the coach does not believe in him. The coach wants to work hard when he's off the ball. That is why Diallo is coming into the team. But Arribo is good. His touches are good. When he has the ball, he knows what to do with the ball. But when he's off the ball, he needs to improve on his work rate.
Okay. Moving on. Next player that I want to ask you guys about, Calvin Bassey. A player that a lot of Nigerian fans, he burst onto the scene last year, for both club and country. He made his move from Rangers to Ajax. On his debut, this man went to go and chop red card inside 13 minutes. Everybody say, hey, God. What's going on? But after that game, since that game, he has come back. He has been solid. He has been good. How are you feeling about Calvin Bassey's move to Ajax so far? Adidotun, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sorry. People have been saying Osimhen is our best player, but to me, Bassey is our best player. Bassey, not to say, so that may God continue to give him that strength. That guy is a beast. That guy is a beast. He was the man that the coach changed all the defenders. it did not change only Bassey. It didn't change only Bassey. I get what because of the conversation he had with the coach. He said the coach called him and they spoke for about 1 hour 30 minutes before he made the move. Bassey is phenomenal. To me, Bassey is our best player. Last season and this new season, Bassey is our best player. You should give it up.
What do you think?
Yeah, Bassey going to Ajax in Netherlands is awesome. And I think that's a step up from Scotland. Moving from Rangers to Ajax is a step up. And I think he should just put his head down, calm down.
Sorry, guys. Sorry to cut you off. Just as we're discussing, let's just be known that Ademola Lookman has 1 goal and 1 assist for Atalanta this evening. So he's currently on fire. Yeah, go on.
So, Kevin Bassey has done a great one. If going to Netherlands will let his game and will improve his chances of going to one of the top 5 leagues in the next 2 seasons at most. And I think if he just keep his head calm, and he's the champion of Netherlands, so he's assured one thing: he's going to win another trophy in Holland this coming season. That one is assured for him. I think he just needs to do more and just need to improve on his play. And all unnecessary red cards, he needs to work on his temperament to avoid unnecessary red cards.
All right. Felix, thoughts on Arribo to Ajax?
Bassey.
Bassey to Ajax, not Arribo. Somebody say Arribo.
Yes, I've said that in recent weeks, Bassey is the most Nigerian improved player to me because one thing makes me very excited about Bassey, the ability to learn in time. I was having an argument with a friend yesterday. He told me, because Bassey moved to Ajax now, he has become better in how many weeks? I said, yes. Bassey is playing more better than a few weeks ago when he was playing, or a few months ago when he was playing at Trading Gas. Bassey is not just a good defender. He's very fast. He's good on the ball. He's a ball-playing defender. That is one place where Nigeria is very lucky. Because if you see the rate, the level at which he's comfortable on the ball, you'll be very surprised that, wow. I think I read a post today by a Holland legend. He was praising Bassey. He said Bassey will keep getting better and better because you can see that guy is fantastic. I don't think he's going to spend so long with Ajax, to be sincere. I'm predicting he's going to have a good Champions League because I've watched 3 of their games and that guy has been fantastic. He gave an assist to Mohamed Kudus in their last game. You can see the way the guy plays. So he's a lucky thing that we have a player like Bassey playing for the Super Eagles, to be sincere. It's a very lucky thing and it can only get better.
Amazing. Love to hear that. See, I'm just hearing that they might be giving the Ademola Lookman goal as an own goal, so we have to check that. But let's move on. Chidera Ejuke to Hertha Berlin in Germany in the first division. So far, he has played, I think, 5 or 6 matches. No goal, no assist. But, he's created a couple chances. His team just picked up their first win of the season over the past weekend against Augsburg. Have you guys been following him? What do you think of the move so far?
I've not seen the matches, but what I know, the highlights I realized that he has reduced that is excessive dribbles. He has reduced that, and I'm not playing to the team. I think that's only one I'm going to make any analysis. I think he has reduced the way he dribbles, and I explained to the team. And I think it's a good one because people will be able to see him well. Unlike in Russia, where we don't have access to watch his game. But with this, I think I'm going to see him well. And based on what people have been saying, I think he's been putting up a good performance. And what the highlight you did, that's what video he did, he did. I think based on that, he played very well. It's been good so far.
How about you, Titi?
Yeah, I think they were educated to Hertha Berlin. Hertha Berlin is another Nottingham Forest too. Let's just say that. Last season, they escaped relegation just by an iota of luck by playing the player. But I follow the Bundesliga very well. And now the coach that brought Echide Eduke into Atabele once played against him in Russia. So the coach knows him very well and trusts Echide Eduke very well. And I think I was very pessimistic about him going to Bonnet because I like, will he be able to fit into the Bozo and the kind of strength that they play in Bundesliga? I think he has been able to reduce his excessive dribbling, play as a team member now more, and is now switching from the right flank to the middle flank and to the left flank, which is a very good thing for his game. He's improving more like the way he will be improving in Everton, and I hope he will keep it up. If he's unable to score good, but at least create chances, make assists, make impact in the game, and people will always talk about you. And you get your flowers for that.
And sorry, before I go to you, Felix, I remember that video that Madrid was talking about. Some people on our Instagram were in the comments saying, he didn't do anything. And I remember that was the game against Dortmund. I watched that game, and even after I rewatched the game. And people, I remember like it was so interesting to me that Nigerian fans were criticizing his dribbling or this thing in that game, because during the match, the commentators were praising him. After the match, the German public, the media were praising him of the performance that he put up against Dortmund. He was the best player for his team that day. Like you've said, his team is not a very good team, so we don't expect them to win against Dortmund anyways, you know. And it was just very interesting to me that people were criticizing, because I thought he did quite well, you know, against Jude Bellingham. I mean, who is another young player, but fantastic midfielder, like we know. And he was able to put on and create 2 chances that, I mean, one of them I even thought his teammates should have done better with. But at the same time, I mean, so far so good in my opinion. Let's just hope. I don't want anybody to get relegated, but let's just hope that his team can stay up. Felix, what do you think about Eduke's move quickly?
Yeah, to be fair enough, I haven't actually watched Eduke this season, but from the post he always make, I've been able to watch some of his their footage at Bassey on YouTube. And this Eduke has this thing. He has the potential to be whatever he wants to be. Eduke is fantastic. He has this potential to be whatever he wants to be. He just needs to keep working hard, add deliveries and add scoring to his game. Eduke is very good. You know, I don't care if Hertha Berlin actually relegates. But one thing is very certain. If Hertha Berlin relegate and Eduke is actually playing at this rate, he's surely going to get a good move to a more better team in Germany or probably any other league. I think Chidera Eduke can play in Dortmund successfully with the way he's playing, with a good coaching in the right environment. This guy has the ability to pick up. I like to have. He's so pacey, he's so tricky. There's a video he posted where he had 9 dribbles.
No, yeah, and see, you mentioned Dortmund. For me, there's nothing that Sancho did that Eduke cannot go there and replicate. So I like that example of Dortmund. Okay, let's move on. I want to see who the next person I want to go into detail on my list. Let's talk about Valentine Ozonwafo. Valentine Ozonwafo. What kind of reaction is that? Valentine Ozonwafo just moved from Sporting Charleroi, I believe in Belgium, to Sochaux in the French Ligue 2, Ligue 2. What do you guys think of the move? Have you been watching his games, and how do you think it has turned out for him so far? I don't know.
I don't know what to say, but I don't buy players move from one top flight to second division. If you move to championship, I wouldn't mind. But we got top flights in Belgium to second division in France. To me, it's enough for me. It's enough for me. It's a player I love and respect. It's enough for me.
Dele, what do you think?
For me, as much as I love Valentine Ozonwafo, he should have stayed in Charleroi. You move from Charleroi to Sochaux in Ligue 2 in France. He has only been able to play maybe just 1 or 2 matches. Some matches not even in the match they scored.
You know, see, sorry to cut you off, but that's the thing. I was going to wait, but you said it already. That's the thing that I don't know if he's injured or what happened. He played his first 2 games, and if we're being honest, and I've criticized him in the past. I thought he did.
No,
okay.
He played the first match for Sochaux. The second match was not in the match they scored.
And then
the third
they
match,
benched him for the last 2 matches.
He has only played 2 matches so far.
Yeah, he has only
the
played
last
2
one was
games.
just on the bench. I was like, what was he doing? League 2 for crying out loud. He had a good season with Chalua in the second half of the season last season.
Yeah.
What happened that move to Sucho? Is it the money or what? And I'm sure, according to some sources, it's not. Don't let us just go into that. According to Gadi also, don't let us go into it. I'm sorry, please.
All right, Felix, how about you? What do you think? Felix, if you've gone to sleep, I'll remove you and bring somebody else.
I'm listening. Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I always had this feeling that Valentine is the future of the Nigerian Super Eagles defense, because even after that, I think he had this scary incident last season where he collapsed or something happened. Even after that incident, he was playing. I just think that guy used to have this bit of hard luck, because I don't know. Each time I see him, he plays better. He plays good. He plays well in the defense, but I just don't know what the problem is. I always look at him like someone who is going to who is going to take the mantle from Umeruo, especially. But moving to League 2 from Midland is just it's not a good move, to be sincere, for a young player who is playing such a good football. Is not a good move. It's not a good move. It's not.
If I'm to cut it short.
Okay, but let me ask this question before we move on here. So far, I think they won their last 4 matches in a row. Yeah. So let's say they get promoted and he's in League 1 next season. Does he all of a sudden become a good move?
Because you can have the playing time. Go on.
Billy, go on.
Because
I don't think
he won't have the playing time in League 1, even if they get promoted to League 1. That is one thing. Look at Stephen Ujja and Tolu Ayokodare. Tolu Ayokodare moved from Latvia to Cologne last upper season for a 1-year loan in Cologne. He was unable to replicate his form. Dennis came to Cologne, the same thing. He was unable to replicate anything. From Cologne, he moved to Amiens. But do you know the truth about Tolu Ayokodare's zone was that we already knew and we are not having any good information about him from Cologne anymore. When he moved to Amiens in League 2 in France, he was able to do some magic a bit last year. And he's doing well this season now. Yeah. Look at Odi. Odi moved from Zurich to Genk in Belgium. From Genk, he was just fashioned that I will just let me just push out. To League 2 in Amiens. Look at the trajectory of Ode's career from that League 2 in Amiens now. He went to Randers, was able to do a bit of magic now again in Randers.
This is
let's just keep our mouth shut.
Yeah, this is
it's shaky.
Has not been as good. But let's see. I mean, football is just very interesting.
Ayo, let me just say, if he's not getting playing time now, even if they get promoted, do you think they will still retain him? I doubt.
Okay, let's move on. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this one, but William Agada to Sporting Kansas City in the MLS. He moved from Israel. He was playing for, I don't remember the name of the team. Maccabi something, I think, or Hapoel something.
Haifa.
Yes, Haifa. Yes, Maccabi Haifa in Israel, and he moved to Kansas City. And it's always interesting for me when Nigerian players move to North America. We know this, that in terms of level of competition, level of play, is not MLS is not it. We know that one. But I look at the MLS and I'm like, in terms of branding, in terms of they pay okay, branding, and in terms of you actually going somewhere that you can quote unquote become a star. I find it very interesting. William Agada, I've not spoken to him about this, but I can promise you, in his few weeks in Kansas in USA, if somebody should ask him what I hear that is close to him, I can promise you that I will tell you that he has never felt more like a superstar in his life than he does now. These people put him on nearly every match poster. He scored, I think, 5 goals in 6 matches since he joined them. So they love him for the goals as well. The fans love him. And, USA is just a branding hub, and it's just a marketing hub. They advertise for everything, sponsorship for everything. And he's getting a lot more attention. Even I, as Eagle Strikers, I see I'm watching him a lot more than I didn't really care about him when he was in Israel, if we're being honest, So I just think it's a very interesting destination. I'm not telling players to just be rushing here because it doesn't always work out for people. If you don't score goals, people won't talk about you. But at the same time, I just think it's a very interesting destination. He scored, like I said, 5 goals in 6 matches since he joined. He's one of the most talked about players in the MLS so far. this season. In a season where they signed Insigne, they signed Bernardeschi, they signed Gareth Bale, they signed Chiellini. For Agada to be one of the top signings and most talked about players, I think is interesting, and hopefully he can keep his form, keep his form going. And even from the MLS, you never know. He's still, I think, 22 years old. So, there's time. There's time. Does anybody else have anything to add on William Agada?
Me, I will not rate a player with I live in the US, but I can't rate a player playing in the US. Let him go to Europe and do that. You can do that in Europe. Insigne and Co. They have made their mark in Europe. Garebe and Co. They made their mark in Europe before they came to US.
No, I understand what you're saying, but see, this is how I always tell people. I'm not trying to say, oh, he's a fantastic player because he's balling in the MLS or anything like that. But for me, it's all about, if MLS is his standard, then let's judge him based on where he's performing and, his standard. Like, we don't have to say, oh, what if that's where he's going to play for the rest of his career? Are we always going to say, oh, so that's kind of how I look at it. I'm just judging based on his situation and his current.
I understand the angle your team is coming from and the angle that option is coming from. Good. For soccer is not well publicized in the US and Canada like that. They're not paying for American football or basketball or hockey. Nobody wants to know. I won't lie to you. Only people will only tell you, do you know Ravens? Do you know this? I don't. So people like us that watch soccer, you are more like an alien in those parts of the world. People don't really watch that soccer much in America. But like what you actually said, IoT is like a very good platform for him, according branding and PR, for him to showcase his talent and people to know him more. It will be the consciousness of the soccer fans. But when it comes to the footballing aspect of it, nobody will want to relate to somebody playing soccer in the United States or Canada or Mexico. But people expect to go to Europe and play your professional football so that people can know you more. You can go to the World Cup from there and your national team can reckon with you. No, when Martins was playing the MLS, national team never called him.
I hear what you're saying. Again, he's not going to make, even if he scores 20 goals, he's not going to make the national team over Osimhen if Osimhen scores 10, of course. But
Ibrahim Al-Hassan in Canada, he was one of the best players from Nasarawa United.
No, I know. But
he has been here now.
See the whole thing. See the whole thing for me. Yeah. Somebody like William Agada. I mean, we've seen players like Harrison. We've seen players like Aronson who have done step ups from MLS to maybe Germany, from Germany to England, or MLS to. So that's kind of how I look at it. He's currently in the MLS. Like I said, he's 22. So if he tries to do well, what if in 3 years' time, I'm not saying Chelsea will sign him from Kansas, but what if Leeds say, okay, hey, this guy has been killing it in America. Let's take a chance on him. Leeds sign him, and he comes up.
It's possible. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
Let me just say something.
Okay.
If a Nigerian moves to US to MLS, my conclusion is, he's there to secure his future. He's here to secure his future. Get that green card and get that passport. That is there. Because no American franchise is going to market Agada ahead of an American player playing there. Because they want their players to go to Europe to have more experience. They are better than the national team.
For sure. I mean, Agada, of course, it will still be on himself to really promote and market himself. Of course, I even always say that even if you are playing for a Nigerian club, don't trust. Like, no matter who you are, it's your job to promote yourself. Your club is promoting the club.
Yeah.
The day you stop scoring goals for them, do you think they'll talk about it? They'll talk about who is scoring the goals. So that's just how it works. Okay,
no,
but let's.
What I want to say is, okay.
Felix, okay, you want to say, okay, you can go.
Yeah, I think judging from where he's coming from, I think is a good move. Judging from where he's coming from now, Israel.
Because
somebody made
Israel to US.
Yeah, somebody made a comment that if you, and it is true, if you look at the past a year and a half now, we have so many scouts scouting the MLS, because even Bassey wanted to sign the guy from the MLS league, Araujo, is not Leonardo Araujo or something. Yeah. Sabu was talking about this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy who plays. This guy from USA who plays in Juventus. I think he was scouted from the MLS.
Look at
So So it depends on how quality the player is. You can actually be found anywhere. That is just it. You should keep up the hard work. Who knows? But making the Super Eagles without movies, it's not just possible. But you should keep it up.
All right. So let's move on. Very quickly, I already spoke about this. There's not too much to talk about. Jamilu Collins, Cardiff. Like I said, fantastic starts to the season. Very, very sad that he got.
Just so unfortunate.
Unfortunate injury.
Very unfortunate.
Because he was the best left back in the league for the first 3 matches. He was the best first left back. And
he was even the man of the match for like 2 matches. No?
Yeah, they were loving him in Cardiff. I had Cardiff fans messaging our page, them telling us, "Oh, we love this guy, JC Jamilu." They loved him. Just so sad. Okay, but let's move on. Another one, Okoye. So he didn't just move, but he just arrived. So far he has only played 1 game in the Carabao Cup. Unfortunately, they lost that match 2-0. How is this Okoye move to Watford looking to you guys so far?
Like I said on Bismillah's life, I said if I'll call it uncalculated move. If you had known that Watford would go relegation, I'm sure it would not have signed for them. It's not like somebody saying he wants to sign for Nottingham Forest or Leicester City now. You need to think twice that they might not survive. So you stay back, and see what's going to happen. Because you can't have known that Watford be relegated. I'm sure he wouldn't have. As far as I'm concerned, they are number 1.
But here's my question. Adidotu. Relegation or not, he is now at Watford in the Championship. And he cannot even apparently win the number 1 shirt, in the Championship. Or he cannot apparently even win the number 2 shirt. Because if you check a lot of their games, he's not even been on the bench. So it's a bit scary to me that our number 1 goalkeeper cannot make bench of Watford. Dele, what do you say about it?
For me, Uncle Maduka has gone to Watford and it has been sealed, signed, and delivered. But I think the Brexit issue played a very critical factor which is affecting him in match day squad. And another thing is the caliber of goalkeepers in Watford presently today. I don't see Maduka dislodging any of them. And the goals he considered again in the Carabao Cup does not help his chances and his confidence again. Those were not his first draw, but those kind of match when he was unable to keep a clean sheet or have a win in that kind of match will not help his confidence and his chances in the team. So I just think if he's able to survive at least 5 matches before the end of this December, that's luck. He's able to get to 5 matches to keep. And if he's unable to get that, it's possible for him to just go back on loan, maybe to Sparta Rotterdam in Holland or get another team. Even though it's in League 1, if I can be keeping consistently and having that match fitness.
Okay. Felix, anything to add?
Yeah, you see, one thing is, let's be truthful to ourselves. Can Maduka Okoye bench the first goalkeeper as Watford? It's impossible. Even a blind man.
The first 2 goalkeepers.
I'm even talking about the first goalkeeper now. See, we just need to be sincere with ourselves. One thing, before Maduka Okoye's move, I think it was in Nigerian media that made that mistake. I don't know. Or probably, I don't know what really happened. They said Maduka Okoye signed for Watford to become Watford number 1. That is what was on the media. That he signed for Watford to become Watford number 1. That the current goalkeeper is old or something.
Ben Foster at the time.
Yeah. Now we are saying a different thing. But yeah, I can't actually blame Watford.
But I mean, I'm sorry for the discussion, but that was what everybody thought. Everybody thought, okay, Ben Foster is getting old now. So when Foster leaves, Okoye will come. Foster has left, but his backman that is keeping now is still not.
And AY, I also have this. What was? Do these players have discussion before they actually sign documents that I'm coming to a Watford team? You are the number 1 of a national team, Nigeria, of that matter, going to Watford, I think you should have that discussion. Will I be the first goalkeeper? Because I am important in things. But I don't know if
Someone said we have bilateral relationship with Watford.
But I don't know. I think because at that stage of your career, I don't think you should earn a move where you will not be secured. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I don't know the discussion they used to have prior to these moves, because it's actually funny. Because Maduka going making the match day 5 times. I don't think that will actually happen in this season.
Johnson, you say making match day 5 times. How about? Even me, if I play for Watford, I will make match day 5 times. Come on.
Don't you think it's going to be a slap on our face? That our so-called number 1 now was on the bench. The other number 1 is also on the bench in Romania Nicosia. So our 2 number 1.
We don't even have goalkeeper.
Don't worry. Okay, so let me say it here for people that might just be wondering. Since Adeosun just said, our 2 number 1s are on the bench. We have our first ever Eagle Striker Power rankings that will be dropping later this week. We're going to now, month by month, start actually ranking players based on how we think that they are performing at their club sites. So we'll show you the top 3 goalkeepers, top 3 defenders, midfielders, wingers, and strikers every month, as well as who we thought was the best performer from that month. And sorry, let me just finish. The way the ranking will work. So if somebody makes the top 3 now, obviously somebody has to displace that player from the top 3. It's not as if, it's going to always just change each month. So even if the player is not at the same level, but is still, putting in decent performances, then they can stay in the ranking. But then we wanted to make the ranking more expansive, but we kept it at 3 to start with. And as we continue to grow, we'll add. And the reason why we did that is because, we're trying to compare 300 and something different players. Some are playing in Premier League, some are playing in Latvia. Somebody can score 20 goals in Latvia. How do you really compare that to somebody that's scoring 5 goals in England? So
somebody scoring something goals in North Macedonia last season.
So we're going to do three best players, ranking each month, and then to continue to grow like that. But that's going to be published on our page over the next couple of days. And you guys will see 3 goalkeeper options that we have. And I can already tell you, it does not include Maduka, it does not include Zohor. Okay, so let's move forward. Let's talk about the 2 Nigerian boys that signed for Cremonese in the Italian Serie A. I'm talking about David Okereke, 25 years old, and Cyril Dessers, I think 27-year-old striker as well. They've been playing together, in the 2-man attack for Cremonese, newly promoted side. Okereke has scored, I think, 3 goals, 2 in the league and 1 in the cup. Or 2? Or is it just 2?
Okay. I think he scored last match.
No, let me double check. I know he scored 1 in the cup. Yeah, he scored 1 in the cup and 2 in the league. So yeah, 3 goals.
3 goals.
Yeah,
and 2 in the league.
And Dessers is yet to score. But so far, what do you think of their transfers? I did also from you.
I think it's not a bad one. It's not bad. They are really doing well. I can see Dessers even us trying to. I watch their matches. I can see Dessers asking to score goals. He's so anxious to score goals just to open his goals count. And David Okereke and the coach has been playing for exactly well because he paired the 2 of them. And though they've not been getting the desired results, but I think they've been doing pretty well. But I think with time, they will get it. But just have their back of your mind, anytime they play against AC Milan, they will not play anything. I can't wish them well.
All right.
The same way we don't wish people well when they play against Chelsea. When they play against I cannot wish them well.
Dele, what do you think of the move so far?
I never scored against Milan. Go and check it.
What do you think?
Let me come in. I'll get us on. You see, Kimono, so what's with their name? Kimono, they will do well, they will try, but that's 18, 19, that's where their standard is. Okay. He and Dessers, they are 2 different types of strikers. Okay, is a striker that faces the goal and he achieves it and is able to deliver. But Dessers put his back at the goal, he knows where the net is. But that's why Dessers is finding it hard to even replicate that from that team. That team is there to play to Dessers' strengths. But I think going forward, both of them are at least all of them will double digits in goals, but one will not hit double digits. But I can't say who for now and who not for now.
Felix, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it was a good move for Okereke, but not a good move for Dressers. Because seeing a striker who was the highest scorer in the UEFA Conference League last season, even in the league, he had so many fantastic moments coming from the bench, rescuing the team, coming from the bench, scoring winning goals, coming from the bench and equalizing. So, looking at a player of that magnitude, you don't expect him moving to a newly promoted team in Italy. I expected much more. You know, even if it's a team like Club Brugge or a team like Marseille, Lille, things like that should at least be confused to sign him. But, you know, that move to Cremonese, I don't really fancy it. It's a good move for Okereke. It's a good move for
Felix, let me come in
sorry, just
okay.
quickly, if you see what Coach Miguel is saying in the comments here, he said Cyril said it was his dream to play at least once in a big competition as the top striker, and this was his chance after playing in Conference League last season. And that's the only thing that I will say. You know, I watched his interview, and that's the thing. He was always talking about how since I've been a young boy, I've just dreamt of being the top striker for a club in the top division. You know, Club Brugge honestly he wouldn't have thought about Club Brugge because it's Belgium. He has played in Belgium already. He wanted to, that's the thing, Dessers wanted to go to a top division. Serie A is a top division,
league.
and he wanted to be a striker that he knew that week in, week out, I will play. And that's what Cremonese was able to offer him. I hear maybe, you know, you're saying Marseille, Lille, all those clubs, they are better than Cremonese on paper. Yes, I agree with you. But could they have offered him the same kind of assurance? That's the question. That, hey, you come. Even if you don't score for 5 games, we'll still start you the 6th match. You know, that type of assurance. Could they have got it elsewhere? We don't really know.
But in a team like Marseille or Lille or teams that I mentioned when I was explaining, he has the better chance of scoring 5 goals because, see...
I mean, no, Felix, I understand what you're saying, but the first thing is that those clubs first have to want him. That's the first thing. They first have to want him, then he will turn them down. But let's not talk as if they wanted him and he chose not to go there and go to Cremonese.
I'm not
Felix, you know, football is more than what we're discussing here. This is the surface. So if you hear what the players go through, what the managers go through, the agent go through, you know, before any players go to any team, the agent need to go project and pitch these players to those teams first. Talk to the recruitment unit, to the coach. You have to tell the coach, this is how this guy can fit into your plan, can fit into your game plan, this and this. That's why when you see how these are players, he scored 25 goals today. If you don't have a good end that can pitch you, that can put in the best of your ability and say, coachy, manager, recruitment unit, this guy I have for you, these are his potentials, these are his strengths, his qualities, his weaknesses, and I think with his strength, he can help you. Come on. No, Macedonia will not call you.
Okay, let me just.
But Oluwachi have gotten a good manager. Oluwachi would have moved, probably to even even to either Italy or any other club.
Let me just say, this Okereke and Dessers moved to Cremonese. You know, so far I think Okereke has been doing pretty well, and I'm happy for him. Like I said, you know, Dessers is yet to get off the mark, but for me, Okereke is a very interesting striker. Between David Okereke and Terry Murphy, we have the best 2 finishers from Nigeria. Then we can start talking about Osimhen and the rest. I'm not talking about best striker. I said best finishers. If you watch those guys play, they are fantastic when they strike the ball. And that's the reason why I think Okereke would have it fairly easier than Dessers at a club like Cremonese. Because like we saw the goal he scored against Inter Milan, he doesn't need his team to be playing well to score that type of goal. In fact, he doesn't need to be playing well to score that type of goal. That's just simply what he has in his locker. Osimhen cannot score that goal. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Osimhen cannot score that goal.
Did you watch him last season? Did you see the goal he scored last season?
I did. There was one that one-on-one, and he faked the goalkeeper to one side and slotted it to the other side. Okereke is a fantastic finisher.
He's a good finisher.
Fantastic finisher. And that's why I think, you know, he will score more goals than Dessers at Cremonese, but it will be interesting.
He's been in league for 2 seasons now, so he has the experience. talent experience than Desas.
So yeah, I wish him all the best. Okay, let's move on quickly. Let's see who else I'm talk about. Let's talk about Chidozie Awaziem. Are we Super Eagles center back, right back? He just moved to Hajduk Split in Croatia in the 1 HNL. What do you think about the move? You know, so far he's made a couple appearances. You know, he's actually even scored a goal already from center back. He's had a few bad games, had a few very good games, and they are playing. Are they playing in Europe? Are they?
Yeah, they are playing the conference.
They are playing in Conference League. Yeah. So what do you think about the move so far?
Very good move.
Okay. How about you?
To me, I call it. I have this feeling for that move. I have this feeling because I wanted it to move to a better league than that. But probably in the answers of nothing, at least for the fact that playing in Europe, I will still give it to him. But I would have preferred if he had moved to a better league than Croatia. When probably Croatia is going there. Remember, this is a national team player. It's a national team player. That's just it. I won't say it's about that move, but to me, I'm not really happy with that. I'm not down with that move. I'm not down with the move. The only competition I have is just that he will play in Europe. I'm not down with the move.
Felix, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's a good move, just for the fact that he's been going on loan over the years and he's not really at this regular play time. I watched some of the highlights and I think since they're going to play in Europe, it's a good move at least. He's getting a regular play time. At least he's getting a regular play time.
But you guys, so okay, no, you don't want to, but think about this now. Where did Calvin Bassey make his name last season? In the Europa League. What if Awaziem goes to the Conference League and is so solid? Let me check their group. Who are they playing on Thursday? In the what is it?
So that didn't make his name in the Conference League last season.
Okay, no. Okay, so Hajduk did not qualify. They didn't qualify. They lost to Villarreal. So they lost to Villarreal. So they're not playing in Europe. Okay, they're not playing in Europe. They lost to Villarreal. Okay, so there's no Europe for him. So my point is out the window. Okay.
No, that was laughing now.
Okay. So let's move on. I mean, but let's hope that he can at least do well in Hajduk Split in Croatia. Maybe win the Croatian league. I mean, no matter what country it is, even if I win my local Ottawa league here, I'm excited. So if he can win the Croatian league, I'm sure it will be
That's we can go to CID now.
Okay. Let's move on. Next one, Victor Boniface. Young striker, 21-year-old striker, moved from I forgot now. Boniface moved from what's his club called? From Bodo Glimt in Norway. Yes, to RUSG, Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium. You know, he killed it in Bodo Glimt. You know, it was very interesting his time at Bodo. He had a time where he was scoring goals. Then they now started benching him when this boy, Jens Peter Haig, the Norwegian boy that moved to Milan. I don't know if you guys know him. I did not tell you.
Germany.
Yeah, but that boy, so Boniface was playing. Then that boy now started coming up. Then he started benching Boniface and they started playing their own. Then they started playing their own person. Then now when Peter Haig moved, Boniface came back into the team. And I think in about 14 games for them, he scored about 8 or 9 or 10 goals. You know, and then he got this move to Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium. And Union Saint-Gilloise themselves, they're an interesting team because they were in the second division 2 years ago. Then they got promoted to the first division. And last year, people were expecting them to just come and be okay in the Belgian first division. And they nearly won the league. They finished second. You know, so they are now trying to, build on that. And to sign more young players, because they signed quite young players and quality young players to do well in Europe this season and to try to win the Belgian league. You know, so far he has scored 1 goal in his first start and he has gotten an assist in the next game or in his last game. So I think, good stage for him in 1 or 2 years or 3 years, maybe he can be playing in the Premier League. Union Saint-Gilloise, they have a partnership, the same owner with Brighton. And we saw Dennis Undav, he joined Brighton from Saint-Gilloise after scoring about 20 goals in Belgium last year. So if Boniface can impress, then there is a potential move to Brighton on the cards or even somebody else. But yeah, my opinion, I think, is a good move. You know, he has started okay.
Perfect move.
What do you guys
Perfect
think?
move. Perfect move for him. Because on paper is young. On paper, for me to choose the word. On paper, he's still very young. So I think it's a good move. It's a good move.
Dele, what do you think?
It will be a good move for him. I think it's a good move for him going to Belgium, and hopefully he's able to replicate his form in Belgium. If he's able to do well in Belgium this season, I'm very sure he will get a better move in the next 2 seasons at max, one of the top 5 leagues, maybe to French or so, the next 2 seasons.
How about you, Felix?
Yeah, it's a good move.
I don't know to say you don't make Boniface answer you.
I watched some of his highlights.
Boniface say which one be on paper.
I'm making a look at you.
This started so. Yeah, it's a good move. I've watched some of his highlights because we can't get to watch the Belgium league here. But from some of his highlights, I've actually watched. He's a good move. He's a fantastic player, and I'm just looking. I'm looking what he's going to do in Europe. I think they are playing the Europa League, right? Not the Champions League.
Is it Europa or Conference? Let me confirm.
I see I'm playing Europe.
No, they are playing in Europe for sure. They are in the Europa League. Yeah, Europa
League playoff.
Yeah, Europa League. Yeah.
Right. Playing Europe.
Yeah.
So we are just looking forward to. We are looking forward to him because he's just a new striker emerging in the media space. Because he's not a player that I've known much about for long. But of recent time, for people like you, we've been able to see his antecedent and what he can actually do. So, looking forward to see him in Europe.
And they show Belgian league over here, so I they watch their match. So lucky Boniface, I can watch your matches, and if you score goal, don't worry, because they post them because they show your league in this my side. They are lucky. But yes, okay, let's move on. Let's move on. The next player that I want us to talk about a little bit more. Let me just see. Let's talk about the ladies a bit. You know, I even if you guys don't know, I'll talk about it. Let's talk about Patricia George.
I don't tell his girls.
Patricia George. Patricia George moved to Fenerbahce in Turkey from where was she? She was in Germany. I forgot the name of the team, but in SC Sand in Germany. You know, Patricia George is an American Nigerian player. She plays for the Super Falcons, or she has played for Super Falcons in the past. And she had a broken leg, you know, in the last season. So she was out of football for about 6-7 months. You know, she couldn't play football. She's typically a pacey player, very quick on the ball, and she has an eye for goal. But of course, you know, when you break your leg, it's always difficult for you to come back and, you know, have that same explosiveness, you know, speed. But she was able to get this move to Fenerbahce. I'm happy for her. You know, I like her as a person. I like her as a footballer as well. And Turkish fans are crazy people. So if she can do well for them, you know, she'll be loved in Turkey. I'm really waiting for the season to start and see how it turns out for her. But I think that's an interesting one. Also, another player that is coming back from an injury, Onyechi Zog. You know, we know her, Super Falcons player, a light-skinned Oyinbo player, you know, Oyinbo if you want to call her that, but light-skinned child. She played a couple games for the Super Falcons and she's not been in the team again since then. She also suffered a broken leg, so she's been out of action for about 6 or 7 months. And she just secured a move to Turbine Potsdam in Germany. So she's going to be playing her football in Germany this season. Hopefully she can do well. Hopefully she can get back into form. She's a defender, you know, so she needs to be solid to be able to get back into the national team, and maybe she can make it into the World Cup. But we have so many players in Super Falcons right now. It's going to be interesting to see who actually makes the World Cup squad. Okay, let me also
please. Anyway, I want us to ask: is Paris FC, are they playing the Champions League?
They have a playoff match against Rangers. Paris FC against Rangers to qualify for the Champions League proper. So it's do or die. We'll see. Okay. Finally, let's talk about, or not finally. Let's also talk about Umaki to Al Fayah. in Saudi Arabia. Tony, one of the most prolific Nigerian forwards for year after year after year after year. And he has finally made, that move that we like to call retirement move. He has gone to Asia. So how are you guys feeling about this move? Do you think it's the right time for him? Do you think it's too early? It's too late? What do you think? I don't know.
It's the right time for the man to go and collect pension or government benefits. He's in his 30s. I'm not choosing one again. On paper, he's in his 30s. He's 31. He's 31. Let's go and collect retirement benefit too. What will he be doing again? They are not inviting him to the national team. What do you see want him to come and do national team? About there, go and collect the security bag, Jare. His road, then collect his benefits.
How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, one came going to Saudi Arabia. It's a good move for him at his age. Let me just say that. A good move for him at his age. So let him go collect benefits at least. So we have benefits. So can get his 401k. Let him get it for 401k.
Let him get 401k.
Let him get it for 401k Saudi Arabia. So that I can retire back in
So let me ask you this question. So Igalo made AFCON squad from Saudi. So why are we talking as if because Mwakemi has gone to Saudi now we cannot play again for us? Eh?
Do you have supported that move? You have supported Igalo to make the team to AFCON?
I just they ask that if Igalo made AFCON squad from Saudi, then why can Mwakemi not make our squad from Saudi? I'm just asking.
Well, I don't know. I want to support that team.
All right. Somebody's asking. Okay, so someone's asking about Lookman. So okay, let's talk about Lookman. Ademola Lookman from RB Leipzig to Atalanta in the Italian Serie A. He already scored a goal on his debut. Unfortunately, they cancelled his goal today. They gave it an own goal. I just checked again. So the goal today was an own goal, but he got an assist. But far,
I think he has a goal before today.
Yeah, on his debut.
He scored on his debut.
Yeah, that's what I said. He scored a goal on his debut, but today's one was an own goal. But yeah, he's been coming off the bench in some games, and he started today. What do you guys think? Adeotun, you're a Serie A fan, so what do you think of Lookman so far?
It's a good move. He played well. Even against us, he played well. But like I said, when you play against Milan, I won't wish you well. I'm sorry. I won't wish you well. You play against Milan, I won't wish you well. But if you play against another team, I wish you well. If you play against your compatriots, I still wish you well. But fair enough, he's been doing very well. Even against us, he almost gave me a heart attack because he gave one killer pass, even for our goalkeeper. So he's been doing very well. It is a good move for him. I pray it gives all that momentum. He's playing very well.
Felix, anything to add?
Yeah, I watched some of his game, and to be sincere, it's a very good move for Ademola Lookman. And I think Atlanta will get back to Europe this season with the way they are playing. I think they are, so I think they are third or second on the table, right?
Atlanta? They are top. They are top of the league. They just won.
Yeah.
They won the match?
2-0, yeah.
Okay.
So I think they're going to get back to Europe today. And the way Lookman is playing is very, very good. Very, very good. That is why it's just so unfortunate that we lost out of the World Cup, having these beautiful players.
Please don't mention that World Cup again. Don't think about
that's why Nigerian striking force right now, you need to be at your very best. That is why I look at some of these fantastic players that are not yet being invited to the Super Eagles, and they are playing very well. It's not as if they are not good, but to just break into that sport, you need to be very exceptional than those who are there right now. So that's the case. Lookman is doing very good. Very good.
Okay, I forgot to mention this transfer in my list earlier. Forgive me, but let's discuss it now. Henry Onyekuru, he joined Adana Demirspor in the Turkish Super League. He has Onyekuru, the prodigal son that keeps on going out, thinking that something good is better for him somewhere. Then he will come back home after 1 year. He will go out again, then he will come back home. The prodigal son has returned to Turkey again. What do you think about Onyekuru? He has scored a goal on his debut, scored another goal. I think he has 2 goals so far. But in the other matches that he didn't score, honestly, to me, it was average. In the match that he scored that first game, he was very bad. Not even average. He was very bad until the goal. But Turkey is Onyekuru's home, and he knows how to do well and score goals in Turkey. So I think it's a good move for him. From my point of view, go to where you're comfortable. Hopefully, he can stay for some years. What do you guys think?
If you stay at home, see that way is lucky. He just stay at home because he had gone out and he had gone out and he didn't do anything. He just stay at home so that our mouth will not be on him again. He just stay at home. But that will help. If he stays put in Turkey and he keeps doing well and he keeps moving from top class in Turkey, I think it will be good for him. Considering that he's even in Nigeria, I know he has short lifespan in football, probably for 5 years now.
Onyekuru is 25 now, so he should be getting into his own at the moment.
About he's 25 on paper.
What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, for Henry going back to Adanandem sport in Turkey, I think, like you actually said, it's the prodigal son that made his mistake of going to Everton, Olympiacos, Monaco, blah, blah, blah. But Turkey is his destination. That is where his ability and capacity and character can take him to so far. I'm not judging him. I'm not saying something bad, but that is the truth. Turkey is a good dance for you to let him stick to his Turkey league, and I think the sky is his limit. It will be like under in one came in Turkey, and he will make good exploits in Turkey. Let him just make good. I want to ask IFC, what is the news about Olanga transfer so far?
I don't know where he is now.
Isn't he? He's in Sivasspor.
No. He was on loan to Sivasspor from Shakhtar Donetsk.
No, I think they bought him. They bought him. But
I think he was on loan.
See, in the beginning of the
He was on loan.
Okay, he's gone back to Shakhtar. That's true. And I don't know.
Shakhtar.
Yeah, we've not heard about him.
Yeah, about Henry.
Yeah, go on, please.
When he played Belgium, why?
Yeah.
Any people in Belgium, Onyekuru.
I mean, but that was a long time ago.
See, about Henry, I've always said it. You know, we have players who are. See, I don't want. People always make this narrative that probably is not working hard. No, I don't think it's a case of he's not working hard. I think that is just his quality. You know, you had one good season and the media is all over the place. We are this, we are that, and after then we've seen nothing. So to me, I don't think a player who cannot get past one player, for God's sake. I don't really. That is the case with Onacho. So I say Onacho as someone who scores goals, but who is not quality. To me, that is the way I rate player is a bit different. I say Onacho as someone who scores goals, but not quality. Same with Onyekuru.
Also, because Mila is here. Your man Mila is here.
Onyekuru is not really. He's just a below average player who had a fantastic one season and everything. He's not a generational talent.
Okay.
Sorry to say.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on from Harry. Next player that we want to deep dive a little bit into, and we'll end this live in 20 minutes, guys. We've already been here for almost 2 hours. So, and 2 hours was my limit. Coach Obi says Kayode is now in Gaziantep in Turkey. Have they announced? Did they announce him officially?
Okay, that's good. Coach Obi is a family friend, so he knows what's saying.
Okay.
You know, it was Gaziantep 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
But have they announced him? Because I didn't see any announcements. But let's see. So yeah, Coach Obi says Kayode is in Gaziantep. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about very quickly. Let's speed things up to wrap up. And I want to bring some other people on so that they can also chip in. Umakali.
Don't talk about Yadio because I won't like what I was saying.
Umakali, what do you think about Umakali so far?
Good luck, but he should please work on his attitude, his behavior. So what happened to him last time will not happen to him again. Because Umakali be a good player, and for a second division club to come from again, I think he needs to work on his attitude. He has potentials. We all know that he has potentials. But like somebody said, if you don't have a good attitude, man, it's not going to speak well for you. So now he's got to a club. He should keep his head down. You know, if he needs to change advisors, he change advisors. You just keep it cool and behave well. His behavior matters a lot. When we're talking about Awoniyi's attitude is even speaking for him. So he should just please calm down, behave well, believe well, but behave well, we will achieve it. He should ensure that he's not getting any younger. He is not getting any younger. That's just it. If he's going to change people around him, he should change the people around him.
All right. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah, Kelechi Umakali to would I call this the Budabi in Spain.
Yeah.
It's his choice. We had that discussion some days ago on Spotlight Live, and we had a very critical analysis of it. Everybody spoke their mind about it, but I think he just need to do better, improve on his games. He should not dwell on only one of the long passes per game. One long pass in 5 games, and he's dwelling on that for another 10 games. No. He should take himself off his shadow. He can do better than that. If Umbueri should listen, he can do better than that. Play good passes, make assists, not just one long pass in 10 games, and you believe you are the Modric of the Nigerian national team. No. Just do your little, and God will crown your effort. That is it. God Almighty crowns effort. God will make everything easy.
All right. Felix, there's noise in the background. Hello?
Yeah, AY. Yeah, it's a good move, judging for the fact that he's been clubless for long. But you see, AY, I don't know Umakali's personality. You know, Umbueri is a very big fan of Umakali. And one thing I've never disagreed with Umbueri upon is Umakali's quality. See, I'll make this very big statement. Put Umakali in any good team, he's going to play. I just see him as a guy that he has so many things to work upon aside football. But Umakali, you see that thing in him. Even when he played for the Super Eagles in the AFCON, I was like, wow, this guy is good. And this really, I don't think he just makes one long passes per match. He makes series of passes. Of all Umakali's match I've watched, I don't think he has had one poor passing rate before. Of the few matches I've watched, both club and country, I don't think he has ever played a match.
I said Simonic, Felix, you said Cap versus Madrid last season or passing in La Liga. Nobody saw him in the midfield now.
I mean, that game was a tough game now. That was Real Madrid. That game was... Okay, let's move on quickly. I want us to speed things up. We're almost out of time. Let's go to... okay, Ainato said I should not vex him, so let's keep on.
You can see it.
No, but don't worry. For the essence of time, let's talk about Onyedika, Rafael Onyedika.
Okay. I said something about Onyedika. I said, fine, we offered 4 million, but he said 7 million. We're like, oh, it's not an unknown player. We can't put this in. And I told people, I said, Onyedika not coming to Milan. It's actually a good move for him because we are going to put more pressure. We need a player that are going to fit in. They are going to fit in that access of Frank Kessie. So it will give me more pressure. Like I said, it's a Nigerian. See, many Nigerians
I disagree, though. But continue. I disagree. But continue.
Many Nigerians came to Milan. They didn't play anything. The only player that was in Milan was Arribo. Taiwo, Ujja, Boniface, all of them. Antoni Umaki, all of them. They didn't. They didn't succeed. Onyedika is a good player, but the pressure will be too much on him. Especially that Milan derby will be too much on him, and he's coming to a new league. It was easy for Kessie because he moved from Atalanta to Milan.
Okay, so what do you think about now that he's in Bruges? How do you think he's going?
I said he has made the best. He has made the perfect move. He has made the perfect move. I wish him well. But we're still going to get him for 10 million. Next year, get him for 10 million.
Why would you say Rafael Onyedika will not perform? We cannot fill into Kesey's shoes. Ketelare.
I didn't say that. I said the person was pretty much on him. Don't get me wrong. I said the person was much on him.
But Ketelare moved from the same league Onyedika is playing. Ketelare moved to AC Milan. I just
where's he playing?
Is he not
Where's
playing?
he playing?
He's playing in AC Milan.
Yes. What is he playing? Ketelare
He's a forward.
Wait, he plays with Ibrahim Al-Hassan.
Bro,
Yeah, that was the Ketelare forward.
No more pressure on him. He went from Genk, bro. When Wilfred went from Genk to Leicester City, he was young, coming to the EPL from Belgium, he played in Genk.
No, but I did not. So you know, the only thing is that
was the top team then.
but I did not. Pressure is not always a bad thing. That's
It's like
so I did not. But you know, the thing is that like someone said, pressure is not always a bad thing. You know, like again, Milan would obviously have been a much bigger step than much bigger step than Club Brugge. But who knows? You know, like for me, I always look at something. I mean, if you don't give somebody the chance to show you what they can do, then you're never going to see what they can do. You know? So while I understand what you are saying, and in terms of ideal progression, this seems like the ideal next step. But at the same time, you know, we've seen players who did double promotion, triple promotion, and they still did really well.
Sure.
You know.
AY. Wilfred indeed came to Leicester at the back. I think the following season when they won the Premier League, he came to fill in the shoes of Kante. Kante, will you compare Kante, the way Kante plays then to KCA? Okay, what does KCA add to the Milan team physically?
Felix, let me corroborate what anyway I've said earlier. Do you know if you look at the trajectory of Rafael Onyedika from FADA to Midtjylland, from Midtjylland to loan in Lerma.
Yes.
Now, Midtjylland, we can see the capacity of Midtjylland. Don't let us deceive ourselves. Let's be with ourselves. Settlement apart. Onyedika is a very good player. He showed him go for Onyeka after Onyeka led Midtjylland to Brentford. But now, how has Onyeka performed in Brentford in the last 2 seasons? In the last 1.5 seasons, let's say a season and quarter now.
Onyeka has barely played.
You say what?
Yeah, he has barely played for Brentford.
He has barely played for Brentford. That is one of the pressure that also is implying.
I know. Onyedika, so I don't want him to be under pressure.
Onyedika going to AC Milan. The level and the standard of a club like Milan will put him under much pressure for him to deliver. He's only someone with a big ass. The boy has a big ass, good and fine. That can deliver easily at that kind of level. He's a good player.
What do you say from Genk?
But you know, should I say something here? Should I tell you?
The kind of thing that
should I tell you the only reason why I think that Onyedika's own is a bit different from Onyeka, or maybe very different. And I was a big fan of Frank Onyeka before he moved. I've been bigging him up since. But I look at Rafael Onyedika, and I think that Rafael Onyedika is a better overall footballer than Frank Onyeka. Honestly, I do.
Yeah.
Rafael Onyedika can pass the football. Onyeka cannot. That's one thing that I think big teams actually appreciate your ability on the ball. Yes, we love how well you can win the ball back and you can tackle. We love all your physicality and your strength. But when we actually have the ball, what can you do with it? Something that big teams want. And that is where Frank Onyeka and Rafael Onyedika differ. While they might play on paper the same CM role, what Onyedika will give you when he has the ball, Frank Onyeka will not. Frank Onyeka would rather try to drive and dribble with the ball and see what he can do. But Onyedika can look up and can play a pass. I watched his debut against Circle Bridge. He should have gotten an assist, if not that the guy wasted the chance. It was a glorious opportunity that the guy wasted. He should have gotten an assist, and his passing was near perfect in that game. So I think that's just one thing that Onyedika, I feel like that passing ability is what will help him not turn into an ordinary player in a club like Milan. But at the same time, you know, step by step, let's see how it goes. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on quickly. We don't have time. Okay. Next, let's talk about Sadiq. No, before we talk about Sadiq, I want us to end with Sadiq. Before we get to Sadiq, let's talk about
Sadiq has talked about himself, so we don't need to talk about
Simi Wankwo. Let's talk about Simi Wankwo. Simi Wankwo just moved from Salernitana to Benevento. You know, so Simi Wankwo 1920 was the Eagle Striker Player of the Season. He scored 19 goals for Crotone in the Serie A. No, was it not in the Serie A? I think it was in Serie B. Then he moved to Serie A and he scored it. No, I don't know. He scored goals in Serie A as well. He did. He moved to Crotone and he scored a lot of goals in Serie A as well.
You said he scored 20 goals in Serie B.
No, yeah, scored 20 in Serie B and moved to Serie A.
The goals went on break.
The goals, let me check the stats. The goals didn't go on break. He scored goals. I'm pretty sure.
Scored like 13 or something.
No, not 70.
No, let me double check the stats so I'm certain.
That was English league.
You are just making sentiment because you are supporting Milan. There's no big deal in Serie A.
No big deal in Serie A.
Yes, so sorry. Sorry. I did not think you're confusing me. He scored 20 goals in Serie A. I know what I'm saying. He scored 20 goals in the Italian Serie A. I was pretty sure about that. In Serie A, he scored 20 goals. And this is this thing I was coming to. What confuses me is that after scoring all those goals in Serie A, because I was following the Italian media, they did not trust in his ability to continue to do it for a good club. Because he scored 20 goals, but his club got relegated. And people were saying that he cannot replicate it. He made the move to Salernitana, like we all know. He joined Salernitana in the Serie A still. But last season, he played 19 games and he scored only one goal. So now he's back in Benevento in Serie B. You know, he hasn't made his debut yet. But what do you think about this transfer and how do you think he can perform in Benevento? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, should I start?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Simi Wankwo, as much as he's a player I love so much, I put him and Paulo Noachu, I was in the same category. Now, the caliber of goals that both of them do score for their teams, you can predict those kind of goals. And sometimes their penalty goals are much more than their normal goals in the normal league time. And for Simi Wankwo, number one, the way it's working against him in Italy. I think he was a white guy in place, scoring 19 goals in Sierra. Then they would have gotten at least a mid-table team minimum in Syria. But his kind of personality, his kind of his race being black doesn't help him. And the kind of goals he scored. Sometimes I watch some kind of goals Simi Wankwo score and Onuachu, like you can't be scoring this kind of goals in some leagues. It's not possible. Bro. Defender will catch up on you. That's just sometimes we think like clubs are not looking at them. Clubs are looking like there was a day Onuachu scored a goal in Belgium. I was like, my grandma said go score this goal. You have people like 4 defenders, they were missing the ball in the 6-yard box.
No, but I have to say this here. I have to say this. I disagree with that a little bit because when players score those kinds of goals in maybe MLS or in Belgium, people are always quick to say, the quality is not the same. And while I know the quality is not the same, let's be honest, in the Premier League, there are still some goals that you can easily look and say, who is this defender? Where did they get him from? Players still make schoolboy errors in the Premier League. You know, players do. So I sometimes don't always like when people just say, look at the kind of goals that he's scoring.
Okay, now
if you're talking about, for me, if we're talking about the style of the player, I can understand that. Because like for me, like I said, that's the reason why I said it before in the previous live. That's the reason why I think that an Ndidi finds it hard to break the barrier from a Leicester to like a Man U, Chelsea, because of the style and what he cannot do on the ball. You know, Chelsea is like, we're going to have the ball 70% of the time, 60% of the time. Yes, we love your tackling, but we also want you to be able to do something because you're not going to be tackling that much, you know. So I feel like other than just all those things, his style, you know, with Onuachu, with Simi, I think that's one thing that maybe just did not work in their favor, and people just did not really fancy their styles like that.
But I have this.
Okay, that's the bottom line. People don't really fancy their style of football. that is just the baseline. People don't really fancy their style. That is why for someone like me, one call that have moved to a better team in Syria, continue going to Syria B, which is it's so painful. I'm not happy with it as a Nigerian. Thank God it's not even Syria G. But at least you should at least let him just keep up with that Syria B and let's see if he's able to do something great this season.
Sorry, you're right. Yes. 2021, 2022. It's called 20 goals. It's
yes, yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. I want us to wrap up. I want to bring people on just 5 more minutes. Sorry, Felix, 1 minute if you want to say something about Simi very quickly.
Yeah, you see, this is it. For you to score 19 or 20 goals, this means you are doing something right. Probably you won't get those goals if you are not in the right position at the right time.
But here now.
But the thing is, you see, Onachu, Simi, those guys it's not as if they can score, but they're not just quality players. If I have one of us here now, if you are a coach, who would you sign? Batshuayi or Onachu to lead your strike? I would prefer to sign Batshuayi. I don't know. Not as if I don't see Simi score, but there is this quality of play that is so absent that no coach actually want to take their eyes off.
All right. Felix, let's move on. Just it's for the sake of time. Let's wrap up very quickly. Last transfer that I want us to talk about Sadiq Umar to Real Sociedad. You know, again, when I was talking earlier, I said this is a guy that people said is a quota player. That's what people called him. I remember I bigged up this guy last season. Ego Striker named Sadiq Umar as our MVP of the season. People were insulting us. They said, you people don't know what you are doing. You don't know what you are saying. Is it because he's scoring goals in La Liga 2? That this one, that one. It needs to people. I remember people kept on saying he needs to prove himself. I kept on asking them, prove to who? Prove to who? And now La Liga, 3 matches, 3 goals, 2 for Almeria, 1 for Sociedad. Honestly, I have nothing but praise for Sadiq. I still chatted with him today, and I gave him some extra praise. So I'm really impressed with what he's doing. So let me throw it to you guys. Very quickly, I want to hear your thoughts and bring other people on. So yeah.
Good one for him. I'm up for him. But remember, people who did not say quota system. Me, I said, why could you bring somebody in Serie B? That's what I said. Because we know that Sadiq Umar has been a very good player. But only complain that he plays Serie B, no quota system. Quota system was all about our unofficial captain. I won't mention name or that's just it.
All right, Dele, what do you have to say?
For me, Sadiq Umar, I give it to him. He has really made his name. He has spoken for himself on the field. There's a certain Latin that says, let's say, the facts speak for itself. The facts are speaking for itself. Looking at the trajectory of that boy from Roma.
Sorry, Dele. Let me cut you off. Sorry. Super Monique, if your contribution to this conversation is to ask me about Nations Cup, then you don't watch football. Because Sadiq Umar has played. I don't like. No, sorry. Like the guy has played about maybe I don't understand, bro. Maybe 30 matches that he has played since AFCON. But somebody be telling you, oh, did you watch AFCON? No. I've watched how many more matches? You're asking me AFCON. Continue, sir. Continue.
So now, the fact that speaks for itself is Sadiq Umar. Looking at trajectory from Roma, Rangers, Partizan Belgrade, going to Almeria, coaches have not trusted him. They have not really had confidence in him. But here he is today doing the great and mighty exploits in La Liga. I give kudos to him. He has matured. He and Antoni Umaki, they have similar trajectory when it comes to football. Both of them have tried. I'm not saying I'm not comparing both of them. That trajectory. It's also the same trajectory. How they were coming up. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, but at least I give it to. But there's no expense, slow moves. Coaches not trusting them. Really 6 months in this place. Imagine going to Partizan Belgrade. Going to different teams. Not having enough playing time. Yes, he is where he is today. He has really tried and he has really.
All right, Felix, very quickly wrap up on Sadiq.
Well, I would like to apologize to a player like Sadiq Umar because I've been one of his biggest critics in the past, and that is, I learned a lesson from him that you don't actually judge people based on 1 or 2 things you just see. Because I was unable to watch this Segunda Division So I didn't really know much about him, but just a few matches I saw in the Super Eagles, I started criticizing that this guy is not a fantastic striker. But you see, that guy is a different striker from Osimhen. He has one thing that Osimhen does not have. He's intelligent. It looks like an almost finished product. Osimhen still looks good. Osimhen looks unrefined in some aspects. But Sadiq does not need to run much. He knows where to be. He knows how to use his strength.
His positioning is awesome.
He knows how to impose himself on defender. And the most funniest part of this guy is he thinks he wants to lose the ball when it's moving with him.
He wants to fall.
He thinks he wants to lose the ball. But you don't see the ball leaving his feet. He's just intelligent.
Thank you, Felix. See, Steph Monique, the reason why Felix is changing is because Felix is not a strong head. If you say something and you see something else, you're allowed to change your mind. All right, thank you guys. I have to let you guys go.
Good job to him because he won on the criticism. People criticize him and he supported us. So tell him good job. We appreciate him.
I have to let you guys go now so that I can bring other people on to wrap up very quickly. But one thing about Sadiq, you know what about Sadiq before we go is that Sadiq will fall down. He's clumsy. That's one thing about him. And I understand sometimes when people criticize him because when he's running, he always looks clumsy. Even if you watch him, I watched like 20 of his matches last season for our area. He always looks like he will look clumsy for sure. You will be like, man, who is this guy that can never stay on his feet? You will have times that you complain, but at the end of the day, he will do something beautiful and he will deliver. Look at even the disallowed goal that he had against Atletico. Look at that chip. I was like, hey, God, if they allow
him pull him down, so good job to him. He's currently the fan favorite.
Yeah, man, why wouldn't they love him?
Yeah,
but thank you very much, guys. I'll let you guys go now and bring other people on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, so if I bring you on very quickly, please make sure you have your notes already, what you want to talk about. We'll give about 2 minutes to each person. Let's just wrap up very quickly. Thank you guys for staying with us. We're already over 2 hours on this live, so we'll end it in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Just very quickly, let's get to the points. Welcome, Disha.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes, Disha. So we've had a long conversation. Is there anybody in particular that you want to talk about? Who do you want to discuss quickly?
I think I'd love to discuss about Alex Iwobi.
Alex Iwobi no transfer now. We're talking about transfers.
Yeah, talking about transfer. It's just that I've been watching Everton lately. You understand, and his game is maturing. You understand, his game is actually maturing. From a winger to a midfielder, and it's actually doing well. I'll just quickly discuss about Sadiq. You understand? When a lot of people talk about strikers, they don't. Most people don't understand how the game is played. That a striker is as good as the service he gets, and the understanding he has with his team. You understand? So when your team knows you, they understand how you play, and they play to your strength as a striker. You will perform. You understand? So it's difficult for a striker to. Most strikers don't blend to the team blends to them. You understand? That is when their best comes out. But people doesn't watch football that much, and they just make up their minds. I remember one of the arguments during Nations Cup about this guy that you were talking about, that wasn't mature for the Super Eagles. You remember that conversation a lot, and I've not watched the guy. But one thing I said at that time was because when you watch a player, you can actually say if he's matured enough for a national team. But he's playing every day, he's playing every week, he's doing this, he's doing that,
See,
and that's how people.
Because you mentioned that thing, you just made me remember some things. And you know that people always think that I like fights, but let me prove to people that I don't like fights. And when I talk sometimes, I just talk because of what I honestly think. That argument caused a big fight. That you guys remember, it caused a big fight. I got insulted. I got told that I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know anything. That player that we're talking about, since he transferred, has anything happened?
You know something?
You know, but then I was accused of being the one that is a hater and just wants to knock this guy. Do I control the club where he is at? Do I control his playing time? But it's not happening. Do you understand? So when sometimes people just, well, let's move on, Sha.
Let's move on. Good evening.
Well,
Good evening.
Bami, yeah, go on. Who do you want to discuss?
I have a lot of them to discuss.
Okay, quickly, yeah.
Time I will talk about the three region.
Okay. Your network is breaking, Bami.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Arribo, Bassey, and the QPM man, Yeah, I think for me, I will first talk about Arribo. Arribo, I see him with Southampton right now. He's not struggling. I think the club generally is struggling, not him, because him playing right at the position he's playing right now. I think the coach needs to watch and do some new things about the guy. He is confident enough to go. He is confident enough to score. But playing him as a low man striker, sometimes that goal won't come easily. And the last match he played, he played his heart. He played with that power because he has the power again. He played it out. And I see him going very, very fast as he is always doing. Bassey, I've watched him live playing. I've watched him. I want to say something today. Watch that guy very well. Have you seen someone dribble and pass that ball? Have you watched him? I've watched him physically live twice. He is very strong, very fast, and his crosses. Watch his crosses. Always, the player is going to. Ajax is a great club. It's a great club for him to go better and better. I see him leaving Ajax very soon, maybe in January.
Already.
Because the boy is so fantastic. And KPM man, he has done something that is somehow surprised to me. Playing KPM with his age, English is going. That one is not physical, and
a lot of matches in the championship.
Very physical. Yeah. With his age, he has gone to that place, and he has good record with them. I think he has gone there before. So I see him to. I've not watched his match this season, but I see.
Yeah, he just made only one appearance so far.
I want him to just move more energy and do what is the best for him. He has done the right thing. He has done the right thing. Not bad with that age. So
welcome.
That is. Let's
welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry, thanks for having me. I just like say one or two things about actually what you said before. And I think what's the question, so I can answer the question and say and contribute.
No, I mean I'm throwing it to you. So is there any players transfer that you want to talk about? You can discuss anybody.
Antoni Umaki, the move was actually really good spot on. I think he understands La Liga now, the Spanish league now, and I saw his game against Atletico Madrid, and I think it's quite impressive because in the post-match interview, they asked one of his teammates that what does he see about Sadiq Umar? He says he's a proper centre forward play. He dominated, and I was really, really happy with him. The good thing is that the receiver is playing behind him.
Number 10.
Another passer.
Another thing that will really help him. I think it goes more than 10 goals. And secondly, about
more than how many goals, sorry?
More than 10 goals. Scored really already, actually. He's going to be scoring close to 20.
Exactly.
But Rafael did that too. That's my second biggest transfer. I think Belgian league is like a gateway to top leagues in Europe. So if he could pass the Belgian league, I believe that what's it called? He's going to really do. He's a player that he plays with everything. Imagine having Victor Osimhen up front, Onyedika in the midfield. Onyedika plays with everything. Blood will be coming out. He plays. He play with all his heart. And these are the people actually want to play for Nigeria. And another move too that I really like is Bassey. That actually said, I think this guy will play for like 10 years for Nigeria. The guy is really good. I think he's the number one. Like he's well trusted by his coach. You know, he's not substituted. They put him there. They take some people out, but they still leave him there. Yeah, leave him there. So, and the good thing for us is that he's playing central defender. So, which is central defense go really hard.
Because that's where we need the most in that center back. Like left back, we can manage Zedu. Zedu is good. Zedu is good.
Collins.
So it's that center back.
Even online now the left back, but so that's just my contribution. I just hope that my worst transfer. I don't want to say it anymore, but
which was your worst? Because I was actually going to ask you guys to give me your best and worst before I let you go. So let's start from Dictionary. What's your best and worst transfer this summer?
Yeah, my best this summer is Sadiq, and you can see from what Razak that did. Moment they started thinking of selling Ishak, you understand? They already know they're going to buy.
They're going for.
They already know. That's why the transfer was. They could complete the transfer as quickly as possible.
And just first question, but just to say something to your point, and that's kind of why I was also happy with the move because people, he was linked to Villarreal for a long time. But the reason why I really like Sociedad was because they identified him as the same type of striker that they had before, whereby for the club, they don't necessarily need to change their tactics too much for the striker. And for the striker, he doesn't also need to change his style of play too much because Ishak, who was there before, is like Sadiq, tall striker, pacing striker. So it's the same, exactly same dangling that you're like, is this guy standing or is he falling down? So it was a like-for-like replacement. So Edisha, finish. And your worst transfer?
I wouldn't say it's a transfer, but Paul, Paul,
the lack of transfer.
I expect a movement. You understand? But for me, I would say completely, it's 50-50 in sports. Because you need a proper agent. You cannot score for 2 seasons in a row. You scored, altogether over 50 goals in Belgium and not have a move. Step up to to a league. So it's not a sport. It's scoring goals anywhere. It's not easy. Scoring goals anywhere is not easy. You understand? But for you to not have a move, I'll just say that's my work. It's not a transfer, but it's still my work.
All right. Thank you very much, Disha. I'll let you go now.
Yeah.
All right. Babs Bami, how about you? Best and worst of the summer?
The best one, I'll go for Awoni.
Awoni, interesting.
I'll pick Awoni right now. But I won't criticize him for not scoring right now because it's just his matches. But I know he's going to do it. I believe in him. I like him as a striker. And now pairing with Dennis, I just want the coach to do some more little things because the coach right now, I don't think he knows the team he wants himself. Getting 22 players without a defender, a strong defender, and getting some of the players like Brian, and you are not playing a striker. But for me, I will say I'm winning it first. And the worst, I won't count it as worst, but I know because I believe he's enjoying his football now, which is Onazi. He's just enjoying his football. So going to the 3rd or 4th division, for me, I say no. People will say as a professional playing that type of league, maybe not going to that 4th division. But for me, just want to enjoy it. Just want to enjoy his football.
And I mean, if I just had to say something about Onazi, I don't know this, so I'm assuming, but Onazi already has history in Italy. Yeah. So, maybe he's close to Italian passport, maybe he's close to permanent residency or something. And in his mind, he's just like, okay, I just go there, chill, not really play too much for 1 year and I get passport. That might be what he's thinking. We don't really know. But yeah, thank you very much, Babs Bami, for your contribution. I'll let you go now.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Playmaker, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Good to be here. Well done, you and the team. Been following from here and it's been beautiful. Well done.
Thank you. Okay, so very quickly, who do you want to discuss? What transfer?
Let me discuss a bit of Ademola Lookman. I followed the conversation while the other guys were on. The truth is, before the live came on, I was also having a chat with a few of my friends about Ademola Lookman, and it was like Leicester lost a big player in Ademola Lookman. I'm like, okay, great, but it's not exactly that for me because Ademola is absolutely down. I've watched him from close quarters and seen him train and stuff, and you know that this guy's continuing him, but he needs a bit of he needs to up his game firstly and remain a bit consistent. Firstly, a permanent home is needed for him, and the truth is, wingers forward will always be judged by their numbers. Ademola's numbers have not been so impressive. When he drives forward, this guy has got it. He's slick in his moves. He takes out defenders. But at the end of the day, at the end of the season, clubs will look at how many goals did you contribute, how many assists did you contribute, and funnily enough, Ademola has not done up to 10. 10 goals or 10 assists in the season. And if you want to play for like Everton or like RB Leipzig or like Atalanta or Leicester City, you need to deliver because firstly, you are competing not with yourself, but with other players who are out there. I had Harvey Barnes, and now there is a Captain Dakar and other players who would always want to also fight for a shirt. So I'm happy Lukman is where he is today. He got a goal and an assist, but we don't get carried away so soon with all of those. I think he can still improve, and he needs to be consistent so he gets a permanent home. And for Sadiq Umar,
sorry, let me just quickly hear Kelechi Umakali. I see you.
Okay.
Kelechi, we don't discuss your matter finish, but thanks for joining us. Go on.
Good for Kelechi also. I'm also hoping that he enjoys a very good season, that boy is absolutely talented. His passing vision is something I love so much, and he brings that calmness into midfield. I'm also looking forward to see a few areas in his game that would also go up, maybe a bit more industry, but that midfielders are different and they've got different characteristics. You don't expect, Jorginho to defend the way Kante does. And Kante cannot bring that calming effect to midfield the way Jorginho does. So midfielders have got, differences in their abilities and their attributes. But I think that's one area where, it would help Kelechi's talk a whole lot. But you know that this guy is destined for the top if he keeps working hard. And lastly, let me quickly talk about Sadiq before I leave. Having grown up in almost the same neighborhood as him back in the day, it's been good to see how well he's risen. Lots of talks. A lot of people need him to prove so much to them. He has his strong points and he's using it to the best of his abilities. Like you have earlier mentioned, it is good that he's at Sociedad. They would have him thrive in it because he plays so similarly as Alexander Ishak, who left a void, and you can see that from midfield, David Silva always bringing those passes, and then from the wings, Momo Cho, who gave him the assist for the goal he scored. Player, this guy.
And they have this young boy as well, Kubo, Takefuso Kubo.
The Japanese boy. So I think for choices in terms of how he preferred with the ball. I really hope he thrives, he excels. His brother also just made a move, to Red Star Belgrade. I'm rooting for all of them, and I hope that they get the best of the season. Quickly, for Calvin Bassey, excited for the young lad. When we met in Abuja, the last game we played, and we got talking, and I asked him, Bassey, where exactly is your preferred position as a footballer? Is he centre back or left back? The guy say, hey man, I can play anywhere. I say, yeah. Now that's a a player who is hungry, who wants to prove himself. Like he's not cut out for a particular. Is there any way the coach puts it in? Like you really the job. He would go into Ajax and be the replacement for Lafico, the left back. But it looks like he should play Lisandro Martinez instead. The brother is doing it seamlessly. He gives his heart, he's strong. When he attacks, he drives. When he pulls out, his crosses are accurate. Boy is destined for the top.
All right, before I let you go, best and worst of the summer. Your best transfer, your worst transfer of the summer.
The best for me has got to be Calvin Bassey, not just for the fact that he made a move, but the fact that he moved to a club where he would the fact that he'll be given the opportunity to hone his talent, he would learn under his system as a young player, and also the fact also giving the patience to grow. For me, it's an upward trajectory move for him. But I would say I'm not happy with Henry Onyekuru, really. Yes, I understand. I heard part of the talk where you guys said, maybe that's where it's started for, but it was expected of the guy when he busted into the scene from Cascue Pen back in the day. We expected that he was going to go on the upward trajectory, but it hasn't been that way for him. But there are varying factors that affect players' form, and I wouldn't want to be too critical of Oyeko. We can only wish him the best, and I hope that he gets to the top as soon as possible.
All right, thank you very much. Very detailed, insightful thoughts. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. I was about to go to the next person, but he just dropped off. So it seems like Coach Obi, you are going to be the final guest for this evening. We've already gone 19 minutes over schedule, so let's just go very quickly. But I've been enjoying it, so thank you guys. So Coach Obi, is there anybody in particular you want to discuss or that you want to talk about?
Well, good evening, everyone. Eagles Tracker, as a coach, I wouldn't want to pinpoint any person in particular. We have our own politics. I would like to look at the whole team in general. I think it's been a good transfer season for Nigerian players as a whole. We didn't get this last year, I would say. Let me underline the moves by, let's say, Calvin Bassey, Lookman. We've had very good transfers this period. Umakali, excellent. People are saying why B and why is it second division? It's okay. Considering what happened to him, how he ended his last relationship with his club. A lot of pressure on him. I just hope that he now settles down, imposes himself and the team and in that league in general. Then you see him now coming back up. He's talented, there's no doubt about that. Surprising ones, transfers of Onazi, we cannot talk much about him. He's coming of age and might not really play in the top flight division right now. But if that's his division, please, guys, let him carry on with it. No doubt about it. Sadiq on fire. We're going to expect more from him as well. Again, I wouldn't want to start judging. The season is still fresh everywhere. So trying to say good or bad, time will tell. When we start going towards the tail end of the season, we'll now say, oh, wow. Yeah. But let me say I'm worried about Awoni, not for him as a player, but the team itself. Like I wrote earlier, the team seems like they're a bit confused. I don't know, 22 players at the same time. And I don't know how they're going to gel them together. Premier League will not give them that time and opportunity to gel. Before they know it, you find yourself, down, bottom there. You cannot even raise your head up. So I'm worried about the team in general, not just about Awoni and the team. What's going on there might, I'm not giving the opportunity to express himself properly and to play out his best, for who we know how.
Because you're right. See, like a team like that, by the time you drop points over your first maybe 12 matches, now every game becomes so much pressure. Every chance becomes 3 times as important as it's supposed to be. Things like that. So I really even I was excited when he moved. But now I'm a little bit like, God, God, Jesus, take the wheel. So let's just hope that things can settle down and Steve Cooper, whether they sack him or whether they sack Cooper or they keep Cooper, I don't really care. But I just hope that the team can really figure it out, and hopefully they can still get into their groove and stay on this season. Yeah.
With Dennis, we know his potential. Now he's gone into a team, and now all of a sudden the team is now struggling right from the beginning. It's not good for him. It's not good for Dennis. It's not good for Taiwo. These are guys who need to step up. We expect them to step up. Now the team is disappointing them, unfortunately. I also want to underline a tables move to Chris. I read about it this afternoon. Yeah, he needs to get his career back on track. After almost a year, not really being visible. So in general, let me just say it's been a good season for. You counted 45, and there are still some others that happened maybe yesterday, today as we speak. So it's a good season for us, and let's hope by the end of the season, let's see come back here and say, wow, that means majority of them made it, and those moves were positive. That's all.
Right. Thank you very much, Coach Obi. Thanks for your thoughts. I'll let you go now.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, so Coach Obi was final guest for tonight. I appreciate all of you that have been with us. It has now been 2 hours and 25 minutes talking about several Nigerian footballers, discussing some in detail and discussing some at surface level. Over 45 transfers that happened this summer. Nigerian players moved from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth. We had players like Kelechi John, who I didn't even mention. He moved to Australia. Kelechi John moved to Australia. And we had players who moved to Egypt, to Algeria. We had players who moved to England. We had players who moved to France. We had players who moved to Belgium, to Denmark, to Sweden, to China, to Saudi. So Nigerian players were so active this summer. And I really, really hope that regardless of our personal opinions, like Coach Obi said, at the end of the season, we can look at majority of these moves and say, hey, whether it be this guy to Serie D or this guy to Serie A, it ended up being a positive move for him, for his career, for himself, for her career, for herself. Thank you very much. Somebody said, can you post the transfers that happened? Yes, we are going to post something about it. We're working on some content. Just give us some time. But yes, we'll post some kind of just spread of the Nigerian transfers. Thank you very much for engaging with me. I see you guys on Facebook. I see you guys on YouTube. I appreciate your audience. And of course, to our first love, Instagram. Thank you very much for engaging and sticking with us throughout. My name is Ayotsi. This is Eagles Tracker, the home of Nigerian footballers. And until next time, have yourselves a wonderful night.